No, this was so random. I was outside at work taking trash out of the back of my boss's truck and tools inside the house, and his mom pulls up. I didn't even know it was her at first, but just this silver Dodge just pulls up, and she's like, "Hey, my son has a podcast." I was like, "All right, he wants you to go on it." I'm like, "Okay, sounds good. I will. Here's my number." And it was like an hour later, I get a text, and here we are. It's like, all right. And my boss is like, "Oh, you're famous." I'm like, "Shh, no, I'm not."
Dude, from what I've seen, you have a very interesting life.
Right, you already got a little bit of fame as it is.
Yeah, locally, just tending to the garden I can touch, mainly.
There you go.
Right, so I've seen a little bit of your Instagram. A lot of it looks like you went down and did the Baja 1000 last year.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that came about at the end of September. This guy named Dan Master that I've raced with for a few years over in Sidra in Idaho, which is their local desert racing scene. He's actually from Baker and his family as well.
Oh, wow.
Kurt Master, yeah, they own the Husky shop here in town. So they're local, technically. Not
Husky
anymore.
shop?
Yeah.
There's a Husky shop in town?
Well, there was years ago. Like
Oh, I
it's since deceased, but yeah, it's still. Yeah, he called me up and was like, "Hey, remember last year you said you wanted to race the Baja 1000?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You want to do it this year?" I was like,
Oh, shit.
"Oh my god!" Like, you gotta be kidding me. Because at that point, I was kind of starting just to get a little burnt out on the desert racing scene over in Idaho a little bit, and just wanted to change of pace. And yeah, he called me, and I was just like, I couldn't believe it. Like, and at that point, I was like, pretty sure I was like, well, I'm probably just gonna end up this year like third Open A class and like sixth overall. So I was like, alrighty, well, this is kind of how it's gonna be. So to go do that, it was just like such a nice cap, and just just to go do it, especially was like, man, the adventure of it.
Were you nervous?
And not really, no.
Really?
No, I get more nervous on the starts of Hare and Hounds and Sidra, where it's like anywhere from 60 bikes to 120 or 200 bikes all in a line.
Damn.
And we all go at the drop of a flag across anywhere from a couple hundred feet or 5 miles across a valley floor, just clicking through the gears and hopefully not hitting a gopher hole or a rock.
So it's not like there at the
Yeah.
beginning, it's not like pitched out to where one person goes out. They have like a couple second, kind of like a marker in between each person. Everybody's just all balls out all at once.
That's sprint enduro that you're referring to. This, like, most of the Hare and Hound starts they're so freaking scary, but the adrenaline rush you get from that, if you do good and get a good start, it's a lot of fun.
Right.
But
I could see how it's nerve wracking though. There at the beginning, everybody's just freaking packed right together. You're afraid
Yeah.
your foot pegs are gonna hit somebody else's foot pegs. And...
no, I know motocross is one thing. That's a whole other animal in itself. But man, you get like 60 guys on the line, and they're all aiming for the same set of flags at a couple hundred yards or a mile away. It can get pretty hairy.
When did you start racing?
I started racing off-road like when I was 22, so like 2018, but I've ridden off-road my entire life, so it actually clicked really quickly with me, come to find out.
From what I understand, your first bike was the 70 Honda.
Yeah, it was.
Good little
Was it-
trusty bike to start
Oh,
out
yeah.
on though.
Four-stroke?
Yeah, it's still in my basement to this
Oh
day.
man, that's a gem to keep on. Keep a hold of
Oh,
right
no, I'm
there.
not getting rid of it. I
Right.
just wish I had my riding gear that I started out in. That's since long gone, but
Where did you start riding? You're like,
right out here at Virtue Flats. So
The stomping grounds then.
these stomping grounds still are to this very day.
I
Yeah.
love Virtue.
It's so good. It's just quiet.
I feel like if they took a couple machines out there and kind of like, I don't know, cleaned up just a little bit, but that doesn't make it as natural.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's still some things that they could make. We could make a racetrack out there for all I know.
Oh, dude, totally. The amount of space out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all sagebrush. I mean, it's not like there's a bunch of trees or anything out there.
Right.
But that I could see them being like, oh, the rabbits that are out here, we have to protect them. And I mean, there is a lot of ranch land out there too. But
I just don't think Baker wants that noise.
well, I mean, the shooting range is out there, so I mean, there's.
I mean,
plenty
not
of
like
noise
literal
anyways.
noise, but like thousands of people coming here
Oh.
to watch a race, or
Right.
It'd be a few hundred, but yeah, it'd be a lot.
I could see it
Be a
taking
massive
off.
influx. It would. I mean, it would be great for Baker to have something like that again. They used to do Team Slug racing back in the day.
Oh,
Like,
really?
Yeah. Just,
Oh, wow.
Like that was one of the old like motorcycle clubs, and they had like the Top Hat race over in Sumter through the woods back in the 80s. And yeah, it used to happen over here quite a bit. They even had a race from Virtue to Durkee and back.
Oh wow!
Oh, really?
So it's happened, and it can happen again someday. It's just gotta work with the BLM on it.
You gotta
Right.
get someone that's motivated enough to start that too.
Yeah,
Somebody
yeah.
willing to put in the time.
You just mainly just need to find a club that's already established, and then get a group of guys and have that club come over and parent the new club for a year, and then put on a race, whether it's a sprint or a hare scramble, and then go from there. But it'd be huge for Baker and Eastern Oregon to do that.
Right. Yeah. Especially right now.
Yeah.
So like my mom, I just like went to go see her one day at work, and she's like, you know who you should have on your podcast? I was like, who? And she's like, Cole. I'm like, I knew who you were. I just never really, we never met or anything. I know Max talks about you all the time.
Max.
Soul.
Oh yeah, I know that guy.
He fucking
Long time, buddy.
yeah, he digs you.
I've known him for a long time.
He is excited every time he sees new video. He
No shit.
stalks your Instagram. So I was like, it's about time we have a actual guest that we can interview or something on here. So like I went straight to your Instagram, or actually I was looking for your Instagram because I didn't know your last name at the time, and I was like, fuck, I can't find him. And then I messaged Max, and I was like, hey, how can I find that Cole guy? And he's like, Cole who? I'm like, the one that dirt bikes.
Right. Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody your full name so everybody knows who you are?
Oh, Cole Hauter.
Hauter. Might not remember that, but we'll try.
Yeah,
No
we'll
worries.
try to get
I'll
it
remember
right.
Cole, but Hauter.
I
Yeah.
think it's Chowder, but put an H.
There you go. That's a good way to
Right.
do it.
Figure out a way to remember
Sorry,
it
no.
easy.
I had buddies of mine throw that name in my
Chowder?
face. Oh yeah, they call me that. Oh yeah.
Hey, I don't mean to poke fun. I
No,
put
no,
that
it's
last name
no, it's
too.
all good.
yeah, yeah.
But
No.
yeah, I messaged Max, and he gave me the link to your Instagram. So I went right there, and I added you as a friend. Went to your messages, started messaging. My mom's like, hey, I got his number. I'm like, what the fuck?
She already doing all the
I ran
legwork
into
for you.
Cole. I bet you, dude. $100. I know my mom. She's very straightforward. She probably just seen you. Hey!
No, that's exactly how it happened too.
Oh wow.
That is literally how it happened.
Yeah, she's a saint.
Right. Yeah. This
can't-
is an awesome guest for our first
No,
guest,
yeah.
to be honest. I mean, because you've got quite a bit of stuff to talk about. I mean, between the dirt biking, the Baja 1000, what was it, the ice climbing or whatever that was you were talking about earlier.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Rafting.
yeah,
river
White River
rafting,
rafting,
yeah.
like.
Yeah, we definitely stalked your Instagram. I'm like, holy
Well, it's like
shit.
I have my own page on Instagram called Shamrock Tactical, and it's like I was like went and searched up your name because you told me that we were gonna have a guest, and I actually found out I was already following you. I was like, oh damn, okay, like I already had liked a couple of your posts. I'm like, shit, okay.
Oh wait, I remember that.
Yeah,
And
so
now-
I went and I would like started looking through some of your stuff, and I was like, oh damn, like all like towards the back and stuff, like where you did like Baja and stuff, and dude, you do a lot of shit, man. Who got you into all this stuff? Your dad?
My
or?
dad.
Yeah.
Yep, my dad, my mom, all four of us, me and my mom and my sister, my dad, all used to ride dirt bikes together on the weekends, and yeah, we've always just kind of been out and about, and I grew up going down to Big Bar every weekend with my dad, rock climbing, so he'd take me down there as an infant, and then,
Big Bar.
yeah.
Where's
yeah,
that at?
It's down in Hell's Canyon between the dam and Hell's Canyon Park. It's just
Oh,
a
yeah.
free campground down there on the Idaho side. It's really cool. It's a really nice spot to go camp out. So yeah, it's just got a ton of limestone climbs, and it's pretty quiet. Like, I'm not too familiar with the climbing world, but from what I've heard over the years, that it's just one of the best places to go for no crowds. And I was thinking years ago that it was going to change, but that was like a decade ago, and it's still the same. Every fall, it's just there's like 8 cars that go there every year, and that's about it.
Probably the same
It's
people.
Yeah, it's the
almost.
same people. They'll go down there and they're like, "Oh, this is really nice. There's nobody here.
It's
We get-
dead.
It's dead."
That's
That's
this
the.
podcast blows up. That place is gonna be popping.
Yeah,
I know,
right.
I know.
I love-
You didn't hear that,
probably,
everybody.
I probably just ruined it. But,
I love Hell's Canyon, dude.
I know that place is unlike
feel
any other
small.
place. Yeah, for
yeah,
real.
you do.
That's what my favorite part. It's like you show up and you start gradually going higher, higher, higher until you're on that peak where you get out and there's a viewpoint.
Right.
You just feel like the littlest person in the world.
Yeah.
in
Well,
this
no.
it's like Grand Canyon almost.
Yeah, a mini Grand
but
Canyon. All
way
the
more
wildlife.
beautiful. Huh?
Right, all the wildlife that's out there, the
Oh.
bighorn sheep, and I mean even elk are out in that area, up in
Elk,
those hills and
Bears, rattlesnakes.
shit. Yeah, I mean it's straight up
It's
Wild
deeper.
West.
Yeah, it's deeper than the Grand Canyon.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's 8,000 feet at its
Oh,
max. From
damn.
like, yeah, there's a pretty cool picture. David Jensen Photography has one that shows like Granite Rapid at the very bottom down this chasm, looking down on from the Oregon side over to Idaho, and you just see this white speck down there that's like the green room, one of the best rapids down there, and then all the way up to the top is He Devil, one of the 7 devils, the tallest one.
Damn.
Oh shit.
8,000 feet.
So no wonder there's fucking sturgeon and catfish in that shit. Because I mean,
Yeah.
it's just fucking super deep. That's what catfish loves, be deep down in like the mud and shit.
Yeah.
You're interesting and you're fucking smart. You
Right? Yeah.
yeah.
Dude knows his shit.
You know some facts about the places you go, huh?
Yeah, the stuff that I like to pay attention to, I can usually retain pretty good. 'Cause
Well, I mean, he did say it was a stomping grounds. I mean, this whole area.
Hells
right?
yeah. Pretty
I
much
know
all
about
of Eastern
that.
Oregon.
That fish you caught, was it a sturgeon
Mhm.
or catfish? I couldn't really tell.
It's on your
It was
Instagram.
Way too big for a catfish.
Yeah,
I thought.
that was a 9-foot sturgeon that I hooked with
Oh,
the
damn.
13-year-old kid.
How long were you guys fighting that?
Well, actually, it wasn't that long. It was
Oh,
like
wow.
maybe 15 minutes. Yeah, when you're fishing from them from the bank, that's a whole different story because they can run out into the eddy and then do laps, and then they finally wear out. Whereas we had just dropped the bait on the eddy seam down there, and I rode the boat up to the shore, and there was this rock just barely lapping out of the water. And I just perched the back of the boat right over the top on the seam of the floor in the tube. And my trip leader rode over to me with the 2 dads, ironically, of the kids that were on my boat. And I had this other gal on her trip who was a guide. Her dad was on the boat with me as well. And these 2 kids, Miguel and Pax. And I gave Pax the rod, and I pulled the boat up over the rock, and they come rowing over to get some fishing tackle, and all of a sudden Pax is like, "Hey, I think there's something's happening." He's like, "Hey, I think that you're getting a bite." And he's already a really experienced fisherman, but this kid weighs 80 pounds soaking wet.
Oh shit.
And so I come running up the boat over the dry boxes and grab the rod, and sure enough, I feel it tugging, so I just set the hook, and then that's when the spool started screaming pretty hard, and I could tell immediately that it was not. It was pretty big because
It was a big
just
boy.
it just started taking off downstream, and I was like, all right, well, we're gonna get right over the top of this thing and just wear it out. So I had Riley's dad get on the oars, and he took us downstream, and me and Pax took turns fighting this thing for about a half mile.
Damn.
And I remember I had this rod, I forget what the name of it is, but it's got like these little pulleys instead of eyelids. So
Give you
it's
some
like
extra tension on
Well,
there.
it's
some
it's
torque.
like a full on like tuna rod. So
Oh,
really?
it wasn't bending over like a normal rod would. So like they kind of thought it, like the dads and Wilson, my trip leader, were kind of thinking like, oh, this isn't gonna be the biggest fish ever. And I kind of I saw it peek out of the gloom though, and I was like, oh,
I think you're wrong.
yeah. I just saw its head, and it was like the size of my torso and thighs.
Oh,
and I was like,
Jesus.
all right. I figured it was gonna be something, but this exceeded my expectations, and yeah, no, once I finally pulled it up, they were losing their minds. It was really funny to just see them just be in shock and awe about it.
You got a lot of experience fishing.
Yeah, I've done it my whole life.
I heard the
Oh, yeah.
biggest sturgeon out of there is 111 inches. Or at least caught and recorded.
I know that there's some in there that are well over 10 feet.
Yeah, what's 111 in feet?
I'm not sure. They just said inches. I couldn't
Okay.
figure it out.
So what's the law on that?
Google
when
that.
When it comes to sturgeon, are you allowed to keep them, or do you have
all
to turn
catch
them
and
back?
release.
Right.
Yeah,
because they're
sturgeons-
prehistoric. Like,
That's where calamari.
There's like a
right?
certain feet. I'm not sure in Oregon or in the Snake River. There's like a certain feet, which I think it's 6 that you can keep, but you don't want to keep them.
right? Not really.
Columbia, you
meat or
can keep
anything.
them.
Columbia.
There's a certain like length where you get between that window and you can keep them.
Yeah, it's like I think 4
Dude,
to
they
6 or
get
something like
they
that.
get
So-
fucking huge in the Columbia. When I was doing
Yeah.
security down there in Portland, I'd watch dudes out there in fucking kayaks. They'd be out there in kayaks, like these big ass fucking rods, and they'd hook up onto a sturgeon. You'd watch dudes just literally
Yeah.
fucking cruise down the Willamette, hooked up to a fucking sturgeon. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And you'd see them get it close to their kayak, and it'd fucking come up out of the water and almost take them out. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude.
9 feet and 3 inches.
That's
Oh.
111.
Just get a
So
tractor
you
tire
probably
and
caught the-
inflate it, take off down the snake in one of those things after one of
Yeah.
those.
Case of beer and a tractor tire and a big
Try
old
and
pole.
not, yeah, and then get pulled through wild sheep and disappear forever.
Yeah. Fuck.
You guys want to cheers real quick?
Yeah, for sure.
Cheers, absolutely.
Let me get the.
Thanks for having me
Oh,
on
yeah,
again.
let's-
Yeah, thanks for coming here, man. One more time for the picture. Hey!
Yeah, thanks
All
for
right.
coming by, man.
Yeah, I was really excited when my mom talked about you. I really wanted I've been looking for guests, and in Baker there's
Kind of limited pool.
very limited people, and I was like, I needed someone interesting that has good stories, that has a good background, that like that is willing to talk.
Right.
Like I had a friend, Zach. I went and did a podcast with him. He's like my best friend, like
Yeah.
from day one, second grade, and he gets nervous as fuck behind a camera for some reason. I
Stage
never
fright.
expected him to do it, but he was like, he couldn't talk for like the first 15 minutes, so I had to find someone that wanted to talk and stuff. So yeah, my mom mentioned you, and I'm like, well, and then she mentioned that you did the Baja 1000, or she said 500, which she got corrected at the end, but I was like, damn, that would be fucking a good interview, because I've always wanted to at least watch that, which you
Right.
can't really do, but you can be there for the start or the finish type of thing. But every time it goes on, I try to find the longest video, like a GoPro cam, to see what they're going through.
Continuous live footage or something.
But yeah, she did this for me apparently.
Yeah.
Right.
I tried, but she got your number before I could even message you on Instagram. She was like, I called her and she's like, I'm going to work. I'm like, okay. She called me like, I don't know, 10 minutes later, and she was like, I got Cole's number. I'm like, just send it. I was at like a restaurant getting breakfast. She's like, here it is. I'm like, no. I'm like, just message me. I'm in a restaurant right now.
Right.
But she got this going. So yeah,
She was
I
excited.
appreciate her a lot. And I appreciate you coming in. It's
Yeah.
fucking rad. It's kind of, you don't know, I mean, you might know us, but you never met us.
I've never
from
met
what
you
I
guys
know.
Yeah,
before in my entire life.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was telling him. Like,
First
this,
time.
it might be weird for him, but it's kind of going to be weird for us too, because
Nah.
we never really met. But
I'm surprised. I mean, did you go to the high school here?
No,
or-
I didn't go to Baker.
Oh, really?
you want
no.
to turn that light down
I
a little
went
bit?
to like
Make sure you cook down, not
Yeah.
the different lighting.
no, I was born and raised in
Which would be the
LeGrand.
top ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I'm from
All right.
LeGrand originally.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you came all the way from LeGrand to come right at Virtue then, huh?
No, I live here in Baker. but-
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I live in Baker now. Grew up in LeGrand, went to Cove for a few years, and then finished out high school in Tri-Cities, and then got out of
Oh,
high school and started getting paychecks. And I was like, this flatland sucks. I gotta
Right.
see. I need to see some mountains with
terrain.
some snow, and yeah, I wanted to come home badly. And yeah, Baker's always just kind of been a place of interest for me, just because there's everything to do around here that I like to do, and there's no crowds.
Right. Yeah, you go over towards like Tri-Cities in that area. You're definitely anywhere you go that's like out in the forest, you're gonna run into somebody out there. I mean,
Yeah.
on the logging roads, wherever you're gonna be, you're gonna run into somebody eventually.
Touche, Dayton, yeah, all that area up there. Yeah. That is what it's like up there.
Right. Yeah, that's like, I mean, I was living out in Gresham, and I'd try to go out and go shooting. I was doing private security down there, so I had to keep up on my shooting, and I'd try to go out and find somewhere to shoot. It's like, dude, everywhere you go, there's packs of people just out there shooting constantly. I'm like, fuck this, dude. That's why I moved the hell out of the Portland area and got back to Eastern Oregon, because this is where I grew up.
Yeah.
And so I was like, fuck this, dude. I'm getting the fuck back to Baker, man. Baker's the place to be.
So you live in Baker.
Yeah.
What do you do for work out here?
Oh, I do demo remodel in the wintertime, like
Remodeling?
fall time, winter time, and then springtime I do, work doing,
What business do you
carpenter
work for?
I work for this outfit called Skeleton Key
Hell yeah.
here in town. Yeah, I love it. It's something new every day. Go in 6 hours a day, 10 hours a day, depends on the day. And
So give you plenty of time to ride then, huh?
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, 5 days a week. So I mean,
Nice.
it's just doing ceilings, trimming, painting, drywall, floors, like floor restoration is something I really like doing. Just taking some crap lamination that someone got the bright idea to do in the 70s and ripping that out and revealing the original hardwood floors and just getting those
Polishing
all
that shit
refurnished.
up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we've done 2 houses, and each time we do it, like the electricians that come in and rewire the house are just like, you guys are onto something, because this is freaking cool. Like,
Oh, yeah.
HVAC guys all say the same thing. They're just like, I've never seen hardwood floor restoration done this good.
Right.
So it's no, the stuff they put in those houses back in the day when they were built, nothing like that
It's
grows
crazy to
anymore.
me in the 70s, they're like shag carpet and laminate over beautiful, hard fucking wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Original
know.
hardwood floors.
I
No, I've
don't know
done
what they were doing, though.
quite a bit of remodeling in my life. This is actually where we live right next to is my landlord, daycare, and my son's godmother. And I've helped remodel her upstairs rental and her house. Nothing to do. My dad put a kitchen floor in, but that's about it. I haven't
Yeah.
done much flooring. But I know what you're talking about. We did that in my dad's house, or he did that in his house. He just tore out the floor and then polished and cleaned up the hardwood wood that was underneath, and then
Yeah.
it looked a lot better than the fucking carpet.
Right. So I want to hear a little more about
Yeah,
this
that's-
Baja
that's-
1000, man.
Oh,
That
yeah.
shit's interesting.
Yeah, that was life changing to say the least. It was, yeah. As soon as I got the call, I was like, well, I better probably get the same kind of bike platform that we're going to be racing on, because like a week or two beforehand, I was in Nevada doing one of the Hare and Hounds and came in running like top 20 overall, which for me was a big deal. Like that's
Out of how many people?
out of like, I don't know, 100, 200 people. I can't remember the exact amount. It wasn't the biggest Hare and Hound race I've ever been to, but it was, for me, just being up there in the top 20. I felt really good about that. But came in off a lake bed and from holding my bike wide open for 3 miles and started melting the piston a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I had the throttle like as far as it would go against like, you know, the throttle's like
Literally
it won't go
pinned.
anywhere.
The wires are.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, hindsight, I shouldn't have done that. I probably should have just held it a little bit off, because it wouldn't have really made much of a difference. I was just probably overfueling it at that point for that long. But
You were just
still,
trying to send
you
her,
can
bud.
be able. I know, but you should be able to hold a bike wide open, and that shouldn't happen. But it was just a weird malfunction. But I don't know. It kind of made me like once that happened, and I drove home, and then I think it was like days after that is when Dan called me, and I was like, okay. Time to go get a new bike, I guess, because this one's blown up and I don't have the money to pay for it right now.
What were you
so
riding?
It was a Sherco 450.
450.
Yeah,
Sherco.
yeah.
That's a nice bike.
They are nice bikes. They just don't like being held
Did
wide
you-
open.
Yeah. Did you have to order that in, or?
No, I bought it over in La Grande.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a fun bike.
Yeah, I had to
liked
go
it.
all the way to Twin Falls for this fucker.
I don't doubt that. Yeah.
There's not shit around here.
Yeah. Yeah, I know there's a guy in La Grande that'll order them in, and then there's Gem County Cycle over in Emmett, I think is what it is. Or maybe I got the name wrong, but there's a Sherco beta dealer over in Idaho now I've heard it's doing good things. They like actually have stuff in stock.
Hell yeah.
It's just because, well, everybody needs parts all the time now because everybody can afford a dirt bike somehow, so...
Yeah, all those stimmies saved up must have afforded
Yeah,
everybody a
no,
fucking dirt bike.
yeah, that exploded. Yeah,
So what
Anyways.
kind of bike did you get for your Baja?
I bought the same bike we were gonna race on, which is a 2022 YZ450 FX. So
450?
they had a 21, but it's the same platform pretty much with super minor changes.
Right, kind of.
But yeah, I bought that bike and took it out to break it in and started riding it, and was like, man, I feel really good on this thing. Like, just it was bone stock too. Like, there was nothing done to this thing at all. I moved the bars up a position, like, so they're all the way like towards your number plate, and then like
Right.
flip the bar mounts backwards so that like the bars are like right in the middle of the triple clamp, and then like rolled them back a little bit just so it wouldn't head shake that much. And then set the clickers where I read they should be at online for off-road, and then went and set the sag at like 104 millimeters, and went out there and started doing my loop. And I got to the top of the hill where I usually park out up there at Keating Cutoff, and I called my dad and I was like, hey, can you come out here and like time me real quick on this? Because I've been riding the same loop for years out there, especially when I go out there and ride solo, which is 90% of the time.
That's what I do.
Just so I'm like on the same track in case anything were to happen. Like anybody can come out and find me, and that's like a cataclysmic event too. Like if something really goofy happens, which
You're
has
paralyzed
happened.
or you can't move.
Yeah,
And you're like,
you're hoping to God.
yeah,
Not.
hit a antelope or her yearling. That's happened before out there. To me.
Oh,
Yeah.
With
shit.
you?
Yeah,
Just mow over a fucking yearling.
I don't remember. I remember they ran into my vision, and then I remember waking up what felt like
Oh,
seconds
shit.
later, and I was on the bridge crossing over the freeway coming back into Baker, riding my bike to the hospital is what I figured out I was doing.
Damn.
So there's like a full half hour in there that I have no memory of what the heck happened. I just remember seeing them and then blacked out, time traveled a half hour ahead, and there I was.
On a bike.
Holy shit.
Yeah, because
That's crazy.
I realized I couldn't let my bike up, so I ended up, just
Riding it straight in.
rode it straight into town.
Oh, damn.
Rode straight,
Shit.
pulled up to the sliding glass doors, walked in the hospital, helmet, neck brace, boots, gloves, jersey, pants, everything. And yeah, my buddy Riley, who's an EMT there, just started grabbing his knees laughing. He couldn't believe it. Yeah, he loved that. Yeah, I still have a pretty bad closed fracture.
No, riding
collarbone.
solo is definitely one of the, like, because you're riding, for me at least, I never go as hard as I can just because there's always that thought.
Yes.
If something does happen,
Who's gonna come get you?
I always
Like,
tell one person where
Right.
I'm going. Like I'll
Yeah.
message my mom or my dad.
Yep.
I'm like, hey, I'm going on the Washington Gulch Loop or whatever to Elkhorn. And they're like, okay. And then if I don't message them back, like, oh, I made it fine, they'll probably hopefully come out and find me. But who knows?
Right. Yeah.
But there is that, like, you don't want to ride hard, that's for sure. Like, hard as you want to.
Yeah, I never do whenever I go out there by myself. It's like always backed off to like 80% usually, just so it's still fun, but it's not to that edge where you could throw it away.
So you went to the hospital.
Yeah, had a concussion obviously, and close fractured my collarbone and just twisted
Oh,
it
damn.
up, and yeah, it's still healed in a really goofy way to this day. And then I broke a whole bunch of ribs, punched like, I have these two on my sternum that are still pushed up out of my sternum plate as well, and then I broke like 3 more on the side, and yeah, like a month later.
Damn.
Like I started working like a month or 2 later after that, and I sneezed one morning,
Oh.
and I literally popped him one out again.
Drop down. Fucking.
Yeah, that was an awkward call to my boss.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, hey, I just sneezed. I can't come into work today.
Oh, you
But
weren't
then,
at
but then
work
I told
yet.
him, no, I told him what happened. I was like, yeah, I broke my ribs. Like he knew I was coming into work like off an injury, and he was like, okay. He was kind of bummed, but he understood. But,
He's like, I understand.
yeah.
You sound like you'd be a
Yeah.
pretty good worker, so I'm sure he wasn't like.
Right. like reliable,
Yeah,
dude.
that's debatable.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, back to that whole Yamaha thing out there. Yeah, no, he came out, and that loop that I do, it's like I trimmed off 30 seconds off my lap time out there, which is like 12 minutes, and then like 50 seconds usually. It was like 12 minutes, 12 seconds. So I was like, okay, this thing feels good. Haven't even done a thing to it yet.
Right.
Nothing at all.
Same
So,
exhaust, same wheels.
yeah, same bone stock. Right.
Mm.
Yeah, right off the showroom floor at Outlaw Motorsports. It was, yeah, I'm still, to this day, I'm just like, wow, this thing's so comfy to ride.
Dude, it's
especially out
really.
there.
I'm like psyched to talk to you because I'm like for dirt biking, it's more of a hobby for me.
Yeah, so you can
But-
get into it.
Yeah, like everything growing up, though, I've always wanted to race and stuff. But
Yeah.
time I could like this is my first brand new bike I've ever bought, and then before that I had a CR80 2-stroke,
Mm-hmm.
and that thing ripped. But I went from a 2-stroke to a 450, which is outside, which is a Kawasaki 2008 450, and then I went to 2-stroke again because that's
Yeah.
a 4-stroke, so I had to go do. I was like, I really like 2-strokes, so I went back to 2-stroke and had to do enduro so I can start doing everything
Can't beat
basically.
that power of
But
the
dude,
two-stroke.
Yeah, you got a good
I
bike.
mean, you can, but you can't.
Right. It
Like
depends on the scenario.
honestly, how I explain this is like a 3-stroke.
You're gonna do. You're gonna be able to do everything around Eastern Oregon on that bike right there in the corner.
Right.
Honestly,
Oh,
I dig it.
With everything that I've ridden, that thing, there's not anything that bike cannot do.
I have not. Yeah, I haven't. I've found something I didn't do.
Right. Yeah.
It's done everything to my ability now.
Mhm.
I wanted to extend it, so I want to go to the dunes this year and do everything else. But
Yeah. Get a paddle tire.
but it's
just
really I'm
launch.
fucking stoked to
Right.
talk to you because like I said, growing up I've always wanted to race, but I never got to. My parents weren't financially stable enough to get me in racing and stuff, or like even that. But my cousins were professional when I grew up, so it's like even bigger motivation when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Hey, you're still young, dude. There's still time.
Off-road guys don't peak till they're like late 30s. So
Still time, man.
telling you.
If someone asked me if I wanted to do a Baja 1000, I'd probably be like, I don't know,
You're like,
man.
sign me up. No.
But back to that. So you had a YMCA, Yamaha 450,
A YMCA
and
450.
you got asked to do this race. So you went out and bought a brand new bike.
I went and bought the same bike we're going to race on just to get familiar with its characteristics. That way, come race day, I'm pretty dialed in with the same platform, and I kind of know what it's going to do.
So going
And-
in, what kind of what's the new parts they had to put on it for the?
Oh, they already had the race bike already provided. The team Cactus Warriors had been racing it all year in the Score Series, so they did the San Felipe 250 on it, the Baja 500, the Baja 400, and then they had the 1000. And at the time, and this eventually it obviously panned out, but they were ahead in points for the Sportsman's Moto class. So yeah, they had this thing already all marked up for the year. So the rules are you gotta start with the same frame, motor, everything has to be the same all throughout the same season. So they had the bike already pre-built and everything. And so when I got down there and just started pre-running before I went down there, even to begin with, I took my bike to Tom at TCMX, and he just helped me go over everything on it and get it sprung up a little bit more, and nut and bolt check and greasing everything, and just threw some hand guards and big tank on it for covering miles on our pre-run days, because we were covering like over 150 miles usually each day down there running sections. So
Big ass light.
no, I didn't do a light. I did do a helmet light though.
That's it? A helmet light? Damn.
Well, the helmet light came into play when it shouldn't have. It was a worst case scenario, and the worst case scenario is exactly what happened. But my buddy, I was like, first day pre-run, and we covered, God, it was so much ground. It was all, like, most of it was my section too, and towards like the end of the evening, it was like the final like 30 miles, I want to say, and we took off, me and my buddy William Young. And his Kawasaki did something weird that day. I can't remember. I think it just shut off on him, but then it fired back up magically for the rest of the day. And so we just kind of ignored it and just hoped it wouldn't come back again, kind of thing.
Right, just pray to God.
So it just so happens that this same section of this course, I spent probably 6 hours in this section of course, and it's like out of a 1,227 mile course, and I had 200 miles. The same 3 miles I spent 6 hours in on 3 different occasions each time I was in there, because his bike broke down and it was getting dark, and the course took us out like 40 miles away from the highway and then back, and we were pretty much at the apex. And it just so happened a sand buggy had been on the course as well, and they were pre-running it, and they happened upon us because we were gonna have to ride double out of there. There was no other way around it, but they showed up. So I broke the helmet light out, and I wasn't aware that this section has silt beds in it. And Baja silt beds, it's like kind of going up to Anthony Lakes on a 2-foot powder day, but it's all that like talc powder.
Right.
It's like sometimes it's up to your ankle, or sometimes it's almost up to your waist.
Right.
And these truck ruts, they're on the same course almost every year, so it just gets chewed up, and it doesn't rain in Baja, so it's just this powder that until you go down there and experience it, you can't fathom what it's like. And the trucks have to keep their foot in it the entire time, or else they'll get stuck. Bikes, pretty much the same thing. And when you have a helmet light on, you can't really see around you at other lines, because when I ran it during the race, I was like, oh, I could have avoided all of this so easy with how wide open on the side of the trail it is. But I had to follow the trail and like look for markers and stuff, because it was like, it was pitch black.
Shit.
A few miles in, I was like with a little helmet light, just riding and blowing through these silt beds, and it was pitch black. I just would see one coming up and I'm like, all right, and just would hammer at the gas and go through it, and bike would, bog down because it just was so deep. And yeah, that was an adventure in itself, just doing that. And then come race day, ran that whole section, was like, oh wow, this is actually not that bad. I can just go around all this stuff just on the edge of the road, because it's just a 2-track the entire time in Baja racing. It's all just like a truck road,
wow.
So the speeds are high.
Right.
If you're on a bike, you can get going on those roads full clip.
So I've heard like some of the locals and stuff will set up like booby traps.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Oh, no.
They do that.
Oh fuck.
So how long was your part of the race?
200 miles. Like, I think I started at 197 and ended at 397. So
how many teammates did you have?
There were 7 of us, but it was kind of split into 2 teams because it was a peninsula run. So we had me and my buddy Steven Abrams, who I raced with all year in Sidra, Dan as well. Steven took off from the line in Ensenada, rode the first 200 miles, gave the bike to me, and then I rode the next 200 miles and gave the bike to Dan. And then
so you guys got to be on the
Dan
same
rode.
bike.
Yeah, same bike. Bike has to lead the line, has to cross the finish line.
Oh, damn.
So this year it ran 1,227 miles from Ensenada to La Paz.
Damn. Any tragic things in between that? Did you crash at all?
I didn't have any get-offs. I slid out on the beach because the beach mist had the ground all nice and slick, but that was my only get-off. Unfortunately, while I was riding the bike, the injector on it started to fail, so I couldn't give it that much throttle. And every now and again, I could hit the rear brake and kill it, and I would forget about it. And then it would come back, And then it came back as I was going through the same section where William's bike broke down, bad. Like I couldn't even give it hardly any gas.
So you weren't going fast at all.
I know. And yeah, I broke down out there. And second place in our class came by about a half hour later. So we had that big of a gap on him, which was even more of a gut punch. I was like, oh,
Right.
dang, we were really crushing this.
So how do you
And
guys
so-
like say if like one of you guys broke down out there? How do you guys communicate with people, or do you just kind of like,
I-
fuck, I gotta wait until somebody
No,
sees me?
Thank God for those inReach.
Oh,
inReaches.
those satellite.
Yeah, I texted right out to my pit crew, and they rocketed back up to the nearest access point and sent Dan down with my battery out of my bike. My bike became the parts bike for the race bike.
Oh shit.
We're gonna get more into that, but yeah, he dropped him off. The pit crew did. Dan came down, found me. We jumped the bike. Ended up after it sat for a while, it didn't do it as bad because I sat out there for probably 2 hours. So whatever was in there didn't quite come back as hard, but it still was doing it according to Dan as he was riding it. Because right then and there, like we switched off. Like I rode his bike back to the pits where we were gonna meet up at, right up by the highway for the final section, and that's where we got to work on it. But he hopped on the bike. I gave him the tracker and everything, and he took off and they got to work on it. And I pulled up like just a few minutes behind him on his KTM, and then we threw my fuel tank and my fuel tank with my fuel pump on it. Didn't work. Tore the bike apart again. Rectifier ECU, put it back together. Didn't work. So finally we were like, all right, let's pull the injector. Pull the injector, and if that didn't work, we were gonna break into the coolers of Takati and just call it a night. Pretty much. Injector worked.
Oh.
So, yeah, I was able to get going again, rode the final 20 miles of trail, and then got on the highway for like a 30-mile road section. And, yeah, I got to the part where I traded off with Dan and gave him the bike, and he took off, and we picked him up down there near, I think it was San Ignacio, a little bit before that. And, yeah, it was dark by then, and the trophy trucks had caught up to him. And
Which is probably hectic.
it's very terrifying.
Right.
You got Bryce Menzies and Robbie Gordon barreling down on you. And yeah, no, you got to get off the trail ASAP
Right.
because they're not patient.
Yeah.
Well, that silt will probably take you the
they're
fuck
trying to
out,
win.
too.
They're trying to, yeah, they're clipping along, and I know I've personally haven't had that happen yet, but I know someday it's going to happen when I get pulled up on one of those things, and I'm sure I'm gonna have the same exact reaction, like just freaking out, like blow off the trail, hit a cactus kind of thing.
Oh,
So,
fuck.
I only hit one of those down there. My buddy William, he got a cactus, and I'm not kidding you, he had a barb in him that was like 2 inches long right in his chest.
He just had to leave it until he got to the next stop.
He didn't. He pulled him out, I want to say, on the final like night, or I think it was that night after we all got done running our legs. We got to the Airbnb down there in it wasn't San Ignacio, Guaro Negro. Stayed there for the night on race night, and yeah, he just started pulling out these barbs of cactus out of them, and I was just like, I'm happy I didn't hit one of those, man. I mean, I hit one, but it felt like I just got really sore after. It felt like I just overworked myself in the gym on like this little particular spot on my right arm. It was really weird how it hurt. It didn't hurt. It was just like, oh, okay, I can manage that. So
what it was like, so in regards to bathroom breaks, so were you all just straight pissing down your fucking pants or what? Are you guys pulling over and
no,
fucking
I
dropping
didn't.
trow?
Oh, like in the race or just
Yeah,
in general?
in
No,
the race.
I didn't. I made sure I was all good to go right before I took off.
Well, and you were probably, your nerves were probably so up there, you probably couldn't have pissed anyway.
They weren't as bad. Like they were pretty bad. Like kind of leading up to it. Like that morning, you know, driving to where we were meeting up with Steve and everything. It was kind of getting to me a little bit, but honestly, I kind of just like broke it down in my head. I was like, you're just hopping on a bike to go on a trail ride. Like it's a 70% trail ride, and you're gonna like when you start feeling it, then start going good. You'll start clipping along and
enjoying it.
Yeah. No,
Right.
well, no. Sure enough, he hands me the bike, and he'd clipped a rock and knocked the rear brake pedal off. So like it was still functional, but the tip that sticks out where you can hit it with your boot, it was gone, and so I just had to reach in against the clutch plate and like kind of press the rear brake and whatnot if I needed to use it, which wasn't often. But yeah, he handed me the bike and I took off, and I just remember I just started catching guys almost left and right, and I was like, I'm not trying that hard. But then it just started. When you start catching people, you just start getting more amped up naturally and whatnot, and then you just start pouring it on.
Right, really
And then,
hammering down.
yeah, and then I got to feel what suspension that's set up for high speed, near death rock experiences feels like. You can just bounce off of a rock out there on a 2-track road and just be like, oh, no big deal. Whereas if you're on like a bike, like a stock bike, you'd go flipping over the bars.
Right.
Like, it's so crazy how that stuff is set up to just super fast reaction back down to the ground kind of thing. It doesn't throw the weight over the top of the bike.
Quick
It was
recovery.
it was quick recovery is a good way to put it. It was safe too. It wasn't comfy, but it was safe stuff to ride on. But yeah, pretty much if you want to find out what it's like to race down in Baja, just go out to Pole Creek Road here in Baker Valley on a bike, and not saying do that. But just try and do 80 miles an hour down that.
Oh fuck yeah!
Yeah.
You're like, I don't recommend anyone killing themselves.
No,
now or
don't go
anything,
do that.
but-
So, when your buddy told you or asked you if you wanted to be a part of it, was there any like physical things you had to do? Like you had to go work out to get
No, I've been
in shape?
I've been in pretty good shape for most of my life. I just started riding, just kept riding, and down there I wasn't sore at all because it wasn't like we were riding single tracks with whoops and whatnot.
Right.
It was all just pretty much, just 2-track. So it wasn't that bad. I mean, the only thing, yeah, probably could go without drinking 8 Tecates every night.
Fuck.
Honestly, because you don't realize when you're at sea level, you feel like you're a hero down there. Because it's just up here in Baker, whatever elevation is, like, what is it, like 20?
I think it's 3,000.
Is it 3,000?
Yeah, I think it's just about
like
30.
you go down to sea
Google.
level and you just
Yeah.
are like, oh my god, this is so easy. The next day you wake up, you're like, okay, never mind.
Never mind.
Yeah.
I'm a bitch. Never
After
mind.
a couple days, you're like, oh, okay, no more. But yeah, man, you get 6 guys in a truck together for 10 days straight. What else is supposed to happen?
Some straight debauchery.
Basically a
Oh
party.
my god, that's honestly, that was the half 3/4 of the fun was that in itself. Like going down, honestly, I took my dad down there with me so that I had someone to be there that I was familiar with and whatnot. And just because I know that he would want to go down there and experience the first time, I get to go down and race Baja with me as well. So
Had you ever been down to Mexico before that?
no, it was my first time ever out
Oh,
of state.
fuck. Out of state?
That was not out of state, out of nation, I should say.
Oh, okay. I was like, holy shit.
No,
you
no,
just
no,
said
no.
you were in
No, out of the country is what I meant.
Right. I was
Never-
like, fuck.
Baker's whatever is 3,451.
Oh, damn. I didn't realize it was even up to that much now.
I think it was 3,000 something.
What is it again?
3,400.
3,451.
It's almost 30,
Oh, wow.
3,500.
3,451 for the viewers, which
Damn.
is pretty decent high.
Yeah.
I mean,
That is.
we're up here in elevation, but there's definitely higher.
Right. Well, I mean, Baker's considered, I'm pretty sure it's considered a high desert, isn't it?
It is high desert.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Definitely. So you've ridden up in Sumter quite a bit then.
Oh, I've been down Pole Creek and Telephone to God Trail and stuff like that, and then I've been looking around back there at some single tracks that over the last couple of years that have not been ridden in a while. I found one that was had pine needles and sticks all over it.
Right.
And I was
Nobody's
just
been
like,
out
"What-
there.
This is a great trail. How come nobody rides this?
So 200 miles.
Yeah, 200 miles of great flow with bike issues, and honestly, had it not gone all according to plan, we would have never learned as much as we did. But it honestly, we beat the team we had to beat by literally 2 miles to the finish line. The other team took
Was that
over.
pretty
It
good?
yeah, I wasn't there for it. It was just what I heard, but yeah, it was a really close race towards the end there. So, and they knew who had to beat who and whatnot. So it was actually a race as well, from what I was told. So, but enough points to win the score championship for the sportsman's moto class. So that was cool to be a part of that.
How long did it take you to do those 200 miles?
Yeah.
If I wouldn't have the breakdown, it probably would have been only a few hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you cover a lot. You cover a lot of ground out there, but yeah,
I'm guessing if you're really ripping, about 4 to 5.
yeah, I think that's what it would have been. I ended up getting off the bike at I don't know, maybe 4. that
Would you
day.
ever do it full 1,000?
It's kind of what I've been thinking about for
Oh,
quite
damn.
a while now. Honestly,
See, that's another thing my mom said, was you did the full 1,000, and then we did our little
I was
research.
gonna ask if that was even possible.
Dude, full, yeah.
No, people do it.
Yeah,
People
full
do it.
1,000's nuts.
So,
yeah.
Luke Brown's brother He did the Baja 1000 or 500.
No, he's done. Yeah, I did the 1,000.
He did 1000.
Yeah, he didn't race the full 1,000, I don't believe, but he's definitely run legs of it. Yeah, he gave me a ton of advice before I went down there.
That's good.
Yeah, I needed it. It was a lot of it came into play.
Did you see any booty traps?
Oh, some guy with a backhoe.
Oh fuck.
Put a big old mound that just had no rhyme or reason to it, just a mound, just a road length across, just like a giant caterpillar across the road, pretty much is how I can describe it.
You just seen it and you're like, motherfucker.
Yeah,
Right.
I saw it coming. Well, I saw it coming, and on top of that, I was having bike issues, so it wasn't like I was going full clip into it. I just saw the guy and it's sitting by his backhoe
Just waiting.
off the side, and I was like, I threw my hand up in the air, and was just like, what the hell?
You need a beer?
I kept going. Yeah, I'll take another beer.
Yeah,
Fuck
Corona?
you, buddy.
Appreciate that.
Throw me a Corona, bro.
All right, I got you.
So what would you say your scariest moment for the whole 200 miles you did? What was your most pucker moment?
God, probably when our mechanics were coming back up to, I forget the town we were in, man. I'm so bad with the names down there. They were coming back up from Guaro Negro after delivering us the race bike. They were a day or so behind us from rendezvousing with the other team, and they were coming back up, and they literally were turning off the highway onto the dirt road that goes down to the Airbnb we were on. And these kids down there in Mexico, when like somebody wants you to pass, they signal. It's not like we turn out, like we signal we're gonna pass and we go out. Like like you got somebody in front of you, they hit their left turn signal. It means, hey, go around me. So they, being from America, what do? We have our turn signals on that we're gonna turn left.
Right.
These kids in this Ranger thought they meant pass them. They passed him and clipped him,
Ooh.
and kid gets thrown out of the freaking truck. Truck rolls 5 times.
Oh damn.
Yeah, we're out pre-running actually with the race bike that evening and getting the lights and the suspension dialed in, and get a call from our mechanic, and he's like, "You're not gonna believe what just happened." And of course, it's like we're gonna be riding right by them back to the house, so we just got going, and sure shit, there's the truck and there's the cops and there's a bunch of angry people all having It was definitely a good cop, bad cop situation too. But the reason why those two aren't still down there in jail right now is because of our driver Joe Garza. He's Hispanic, and he was able to talk to the cops and keep all the facts in line.
He was your guy.
He was the guy. He translated everything to the cops because they didn't speak a lick of Spanish or English and whatnot. So
Yeah, if you go to Mexico, you definitely want someone that knows
Oh,
the
man.
native language
Right,
and
or
knows
you'll get
like the
hustled.
rules.
You'll
we
get
even
used.
had locals pull up to us. Like a couple of these older dudes were like, "Hey, here's what's gonna happen right now."
Oh fuck.
They stopped and went out of their way to tell us, "Hey, these guys are gonna try and hose you right now. This is literally what's going to happen. They're gonna try and they think you're rich because you're from America, and they're gonna
no.
try and extort money out of you, and it sucks, but it's just how it is down here." So thank God it ended up being a situation of, "Hey, we're gonna go our way, you're gonna go your way."
Right.
And that's all that happened.
No money exchange.
Yeah, nothing, nada.
But shit was pretty tense though for a
Shit
little
was
bit.
I don't know why I was in such a lax mood the entire time.
Oh fuck.
And then come to find out after the fact, they were like, "So who's the rider here that's like who has money?" is what one of them said, and Joe points to me, and
No.
So, but are they gonna take somebody with a botched mullet seriously? Obviously not. So it played into our favor because I had my. Oh, I was so annoyed.
Are you fully
My
suited?
botched mullet.
Oh no, my mullet actually got botched before I went down to Mexico. I had it going so good, and then I went and got my ends clipped on accident, and this gal just took like half of my mullet off,
no.
and I never told her how I was just like, "Oh my gosh, what have you done?" I went home and looked in the mirror and was like, "You got to be kidding me!
You've ruined me.
You ruined it." Yeah, I don't know. I was pretty attached to it. It just protected my neck in the summertime. It's like a functional haircut for a raft guide because you can protect your neck all summertime out being in the sun and
Right.
whatnot. So it has a purpose. And yeah, it just like I cut it in. It just was like, this fits. So
Right.
and then everybody else was like, "Hey, that actually looks good." I'm like, "Oh, good. I'm glad you think so because I think so too." So I'm probably overly attached to it, but yeah, no. Anyways, so they were like, "Okay, he doesn't have money." It didn't matter how flashy my gear looked from FXR. It was like, oh yeah, no, it's not. He's not. He doesn't have any money. And yeah, we just ended up just going. Yeah, we went our different ways. We went down the road, around the corner, and the Airbnb we were actually in. Like down there, there's a lot of houses that are all like compounds, like with gates and everything, and like 12-foot tall walls and everything.
Yeah, they gotta
damn.
be.
Yeah, you gotta be. So this was a really nice Airbnb we were staying at. We whipped in there, shut the doors, and we were all just like grabbing our knees, just like, oh my God. So
Thank
that was the
God.
scariest moment that I had down there. I mean, I definitely, like, when I was broke down out there, I was just looking around like, holy shit. Like, I'm like stranded in the middle of the Mexican desert right now.
You weren't thinking like some of the fucking cartel members or something were gonna come out and
No.
get
I was in the middle of the desert. They hang out up north. No, it was
Oh.
nice. So
Right.
He did his research.
you?
yeah, no, I was pretty safe from those guys, but it's still like, yeah,
The police is who you want to be aware
the
of.
police is who you want to be aware of down
Right.
there.
They'll
Yeah,
extort your ass.
they will. Yeah,
No, I've heard stories from like close buddies about the police down there, and not only that, I've had a buddy that went to jail in
Ooh.
Mexico, and when you get to jail in Mexico, for him at least, it was like, you guys aren't getting out until we get our full payout,
Right. Until we get all our money,
Yeah.
you're going nowhere.
and all your parents, not just one of you guys have to pay, all your parents have to pay the full payout.
oh, fuck.
So they had to like work it out, and my buddy at the time, which is Fisher, I don't know if
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, God, yeah, I know
I don't know
what
if
that
you
is.
guys knew who Fisher is, but
Fish.
yeah, dude, they did a bar fight type thing, and they broke a bunch of shit, and they went to jail, and the last person they're waiting on for his mom is because they didn't live in that country. So they had to wait for him. But yeah.
don't get in bar fights down in Mexico. Simple.
Did you go out to any bars or anything? while
Oh
you were
God,
there?
no. Yeah. We
You
just
went and bought beer and went
we
back.
just bought Tecate and Tecate Light and went back to the Airbnbs is what we
Fuck
did.
yeah.
We were I mean, it was just a full on. It was just like the one thing we were focused on that I was focused on was the task at hand.
See, I've only been to Mexico once, but I bet you that was a great experience.
Oh God, it was so beautiful down there. Like it was a little rough going into it. Like you cross that border in San Diego and go into Tijuana, you're not in the
a
States
different
anymore. It's a
world.
whole,
Right.
it flips a switch to a whole different world, and that was what threw me off really hard initially because driving around just like, oh my God, there's just trash everywhere.
A legit ghetto in some places.
Oh, it was legit ghetto in Tijuana. In some places we had to drive through, and yeah, no, just it's the farther south we got, the prettier it got. Like, especially around Catavina and whatnot. That was just like, why, just like boulders and Joshua trees and like white sand and yeah, that and like Guaro Negro. It's yeah. I'd like to go down
Paradise.
there. It is in a sense, yeah. I really liked it. Like I just got bit by the Baja bug, as they call it. A lot of guys.
So you
call it
plan
down
on
there.
doing it again?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I'm more excited about Baja than any sort of desert racing up here in the States at this moment.
You gonna try to do
I
it this
think
year?
Yeah, that's my plan. I'm not sure if I'm going to do team yet or whatnot or what's going to happen there. I mean,
Solo it.
I-
We
trust me.
believe in you, bro.
trust me, I want to solo that thing someday, but I need to get my level up a little bit better.
And shit at least, though, right?
You need to have a chase vehicle. It's a whole team thing. Like,
Right.
it's a full on
Process.
yeah, it is a process. This year is a loop from Ensenada around to Ensenada again, so it'll be a lot easier instead of doing a peninsula run down to La Paz or down to Cabo San Lucas for that matter. But yeah, it's something I've definitely had in the back of my head for a long time. Like ever since watching like Dust to Glory and stuff like that, I'm like, oh wow, my God, you can ride 1,000 miles on a dirt bike.
Right.
And like it's like anybody can trail ride it, but to be competitive in doing it is just a whole different deal. Because you're like out there just like pushing yourself, but you're not really at the same time.
Right.
Because inevitably you are going to hit a wall. Anybody that
Right.
has run over 10 miles, you're going to hit a wall. Or 20 miles. It just depends on your level of fitness and mental toughness as well too.
I think the longest I rode on this bike since I've had it in one day was like 40,
Oh wow.
which is, for me, that was like
A long day.
6-7 hour day.
Right.
Because I like to stop, do what I want, take a piss, fucking eat,
Oh,
maybe
man.
drink something.
Right. Take a look at the view or
But-
something.
This is just a hobby, so I'm not going hard as fuck the whole time.
Yeah.
Right.
To ride hard is like how you're explaining it. I couldn't imagine.
Right, like,
doing
how
that
you're doing
more
it,
in
you're
3
in it.
hours, man. Oh my, it's like doing soccer for fucking like constantly. Just get on a treadmill and do that for as long as you can. It's like how you would ride that bike.
Right. Well, yeah, you're engaging
Pretty
your
much.
fucking legs, your arms, your shoulders, on all that.
Yeah, do
terrain
a
the whole
treadmill where
time.
you
I
have
mean,
to like do a wheelbarrow, walk with the wheelbarrow with 50 pounds in it, and then wait until like time yourself because it's tiring for sure,
It
especially
is.
if you want like a race mode.
Mentally, that's where it really starts getting you too. Like
Right.
physically, I felt just like a 200 section. Granted, I had a break in there as well, but up until that point, I was feeling so good. Like there was no like, didn't have to pull back a little bit because I was getting tired. None of that stuff. It was just keep it poured on and just keep going and whatnot, and everything was clipping along really good. And had no, yeah. So that's like kind of what put the bug in my head. I was like, well, I know I
Right.
can feel good doing at least 200 miles or so, and so it's like, well, times this by 5, what'll I feel like then? And so it's just like, just kind of break it down in your head, like, I bet I'll start feeling probably pretty goofy at like 600, and then like for sure by 700 if I were to go down there and do it by myself. But
right.
that's just kind of what I anticipate, anyways.
I feel like the best way to do it is to do 200, and then maybe if you do 400, then 600, and then try the fucking 1,000. Or wait, it's not even 1,000; it's 1,200, right?
Last year was 1200. It kind of varies. Some years it's like 856.
Why does it vary?
Some years, just the course markings and whatnot. It's like they can't quite get 1,000. Some years and they go a little under, over, like with just
A
like,
little.
the way.
200 more, bro. That's
I know.
just
I know.
Right.
Hey, they did it in 2000. It was 1,600 miles from Ensenada down all the way to Cabo San Lucas.
damn.
It just zigzagged the entire way down the peninsula. Yeah, all like it was like, yeah, it was like because it was like the year 2000.
Right.
So you can guarantee if that peninsula was a few hundred miles longer,
they would have fucking.
they would have made it
that shit.
2,000 miles.
My question though, what, especially when it gets really, really hard and your body's getting tired, what are you thinking of?
I'm gonna re-ask this. Marshall's asking.
I heard him.
Yeah, but the viewers might not have.
I understand.
So re-say that.
So what is your average like mental thought?
Mental
when you're,
state.
Like, state when you're like riding, you're about to hit the wall, you're tired.
Like, do you listen to
exhausted,
music, or are you
No,
like
I'm not thinking about anything when I'm on the bike usually.
You're just
focused.
focused on the
I'm
road
just,
above you
yeah, that's just,
or in
that's,
front of you.
I don't know what it is, but that's like, that's why a lot of us do it. Just because you can just go out there and just go, yeah, just, you're not thinking about anything. And it's just like a meditation state you end up going into is how I can put it. And it's just something that like, I remember the first time I felt it as a kid and I was just like, this is peace right here.
right?
I feel that.
This is straight peace. And I've literally been exposed to like God knows how many other like similar things, and at the end of the day, nothing replicates being on a bike in that
It's your
state of
favorite
mind.
thing?
Oh, it's what I live for.
That's
So
I mean, honestly,
respectable.
a bike is different too, because I mean, like you literally, there's unlimited potential to where you can go, especially like here in Eastern Oregon.
oh yeah,
I mean, some of the places you can go, nobody's getting in there with a quad. Nobody's
No.
getting in there with a side by side. Just you and your bike are getting in there.
If you got a
no.
big enough gas tank, you can pretty much go anywhere in Baker.
Right.
I learned so much
We're close to Baker.
off trail riding with Jake Bork and Rick Stevens. Like when I was like 20 years old, just riding up in the woods, just following those two around and Luke Brown. I'm just like, oh, so you guys just ride off the trail for fun? Sweet. So I started doing it, and I was like, oh, this is actually a blast.
Right.
Yeah, no. And
Pick
then
your own path.
yeah, pick your own path. It's really fun when you're up there in November and it's a couple inches of snow on the ground towards the top, and there's a freaking beautiful 4-point buck,
Oh,
and we all
yeah.
see it. And what do? We chase after it.
Yeah.
And that's when it's one of the dumbest things you can do, honestly, because it's like you can hit something really quick and get in a lot of trouble.
But the thrill of the chase.
thrill of it is so
Right.
much fun, because I've done that out of Virtue, where I've nearly gotten, I've had a few animal incidents out of Virtue or near misses. This buck crossed in front of me one day, and I just was like, on a whim, just like, I'm gonna chase after this thing.
Oh,
And I just started
fuck.
chasing it like over these ditches and stuff like that, and I hit this one ditch and G'd out so hard and smacked my face off the crossbar, but kept it pretty close. And
Fuck.
towards the end of it, I was like thinking like, this is incredible bomb run practice right here, just like chasing deer on the middle of the desert, no
Right.
rhyme or reason.
I love how your mind goes. No matter what you're doing, you're like, this is an incredible run. Like,
Right.
this is a good timing right here,
It's
motherfucker.
worth it.
It's always a good time when you don't wad up.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's always a real possibility out there.
So would you rather go out in the Baja or just go out and free ride on your own?
That's what I'm doing this year for the most part. This year I had pretty good plans to try and get top 3 and over in Sidra and Open Pro, but I clipped a rock doing 60 at the end of February over in Grandview, Idaho, and just went helmet boots, just skipped across the ground. And my buddy Josh, he also hit the same rock and wrecked as well, and his GPS recorded him doing like 60 to 0 in like 6 seconds.
Oh damn.
So yeah, it was a long wreck, and my buddy Clayton Gerstner, he was in between us, and like he saw me eat shit, and then he got passed by Josh cartwheeling by him, and then Josh's bike passed Clayton on the right side. It was like an explosion happened pretty much. When
So that rock fucked everyone up.
It messed me and Josh up, and my sciatic
Holy
nerve
shit.
got clipped really hard by my tool pack in my backpack and whatnot. So I'd just say after that I just kind of was like, I don't know, something just kind of shifted in my head a little bit. I was like, this is fun, but I'd rather ride really good for a long time instead of really freaking good for a pretty short time, because inevitably
Right.
out there, if you're pushing it, you're gonna wreck.
So growing up,
There's no way around it.
your dirt bike was your favorite thing?
Yeah, it was. I'd like get home from middle school in Cove and run home, get my gear on, leave the garage right there by the school, and I had to ride like through where the school. If you guys ever been to Cove, you know how the schools are laid out there. You got to like ride back through them, kind of,
Right.
and then go up like the Mill Creek Road up to there. And so I'd ride through there while everybody's like suited up in their football gear, and I'd be in my moto gear heading up to go rip in the woods and whatnot. And so did that a lot growing up, and so
So it's in your
Yeah.
blood then. You, I mean,
it is. Yeah, no,
Been doing it
I've
for a
just
long
like
time.
I've said, I've just never found anything that just replicates that flow state.
no snowmobiling, no.
Well,
anything else? Snowmobiling's pretty. I mean,
Yeah,
that's pretty comparable.
I take that back. There's
freedom.
Yeah, there is something that's pretty close. Like navigating a gearboat through Hell's Canyon is pretty close. I will say that.
Oh yeah.
See, that's something I've
that's-
never experienced.
Yeah, no, I had no intention on rafting until just a few years ago. Like never even thought of it.
All right.
Done Hell's Canyon,
Off
would you
that-
do Grand Canyon?
No, Hell's Canyon.
Hell's
So
Canyon.
now that he's done Hell's Canyon, would you do Grand
If I drew a permit, which is next to impossible, you got to have a really
Waiting
wide
line.
circle of people that one of them happens to draw a permit, and you can be like, invited in and whatnot. It's just kind of a process. And someday I hope to do that river system, but
Off that point, I want to get kind of back into the dirt biking thing.
Mhm.
Growing up, did you have any people you look up to?
oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Who's your favorite rider?
I'd say the first one was definitely Carmichael.
Yeah,
And then-
everyone's fucking Ricky Carmichael.
Well,
Let's
yeah.
he was definitely the first, and then Ryan Hughes was also right up there too.
go. Ryan Hughes.
And then I remember Carmichael retired, and I went to watch Schugle in 07, and I was like, God, I mean, he's not here, because he was racing like a kind of like he'd be at a race, and the next weekend he wouldn't be there because he was racing NASCAR that year. So I was like, who the hell am I supposed to look up to now?
Chad Reed.
No. I remember just being at the top of Horsepower Hill, and here comes this number one in the 250F class, and it was Ryan Villapoto. And I was just like, something about him, I was just like, that guy's cool.
Right.
Like, and sure enough, that same year is when he went to Motocross of Nations and hole shotted both races on his 250
That's ironic.
against like the best in the world.
Right.
And he whole shots both motos, leads every single lap, and Carmichael included was in the race, and he beat him both races as well.
That's dope.
And that was like in Carmichael in his prime. And like the second moto, he won by like a minute and a half over second place and whatnot. And he's on a 250, and he's going against like the best of the world, like Antonio Cairoli, Chad Reed, everybody. And I was just like, okay, this guy is something nobody's ever seen before. So yeah, that's what I looked up to after Carmichael retired. But then after that, it was just kind of like, I don't know. He retired in 14, and then I just kind of fell out of Supercross a little bit. Like I watch it and whatnot, but like I've never had anybody that I've been like, oh, this is the guy. Like,
The only person I know on a Supercross
I feel like-
is that Bubba guy.
yeah, James
Bubba
Stewart.
Stewart?
Yeah.
Bubba Stewart.
I feel like when you get older, though, you stop recognizing your peers, I guess you would call them,
You do.
and
Yeah.
then you start wanting to be them. So you're like, I can do better, or I could do worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's ironic you said Washougal because that's the first ever dirt bike race I've ever seen.
Right, I think that was
in real
mine
life.
too.
Like,
It was my first pro national I ever went and watched.
and ironically about it is my cousin raced in it.
No, really?
I think it was in the, so my younger cousin was in the 250, my older one was in the 450, and yeah, they did pretty good.
They qualify.
They qualify. They're
Good.
pros. They're top line. They were sponsored all the way, paid for everything. They both quit pretty early. None of them really did any Supercross. Nathan, which is the older one, did Supercross, but fucking sucked at it. Like, dude, it's a big difference. Motocross and Supercross is like, you go to like a kind of a natural environment. They kind of build it for you. There's not as much of fucking whoops, jump. Like, it's not corner, jump, corner, jump. It's more of a corner. You're hauling ass up a hill. Maybe hit a jump, take another corner. You're jumping down that hill. Like, motocross is way different, but that's what they were professional in. Motocross, not Supercross.
Right.
But yeah, when it came to Supercross, they definitely didn't do the best. He
It's a tough
literally
scene, man.
tried it once and fucking, from what I know, I'm not the biggest family dude because that's how my family is, but like my part of family, I
couldn't even fathom trying to do a triple on a Supercross track. And what's crazy is that those guys, the same guys that like Tomac and Anderson, they look at people that do desert racing and they're just like, "What the hell are you?" Like,
Well, the funny part about that is you see Ricky Carmichael come from like a town like us, and then they go to like the worst track ever imaginable, like a motocross track, and it's muddy and terrible. Ricky Carmichael's doing laps off these motherfuckers like over and over, like first place times 10. Like, no one's even close to,
No.
like 3 laps behind him type of thing. Everyone's getting stuck in the mud. He's having fun going, oh, I'm born in this shit, dude.
Right.
And yeah, I remember that race. I don't think I seen it live, obviously, because it was a long time ago and I was probably a kid.
I
remember seeing highlights.
Southwick 2006.
Yeah,
is what we're
probably.
talking about. He lapped all the way past second place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And dude, it was
Holy shit.
phenomenal. Like, this guy totally fucking did his shit. He was just like, I was born in this. Like,
right. Just
I might
owned
ride
it.
Supercross now and then, but this is
This is where I belong.
comfortable.
Right.
He wasn't even a good mud rider. Self-admitted. Like, he was not stoked on it. But just that race, the way everything worked out, Reed and Stewart getting all hung up together and whatnot for a while in the mud. It just, yeah, he made the least amount of mistakes. Is
Right.
What it ultimately boiled down to.
He definitely did great.
That's what a lot of it eventually boils down
Honestly,
to.
I think like the main guy I really looked up to when it came to like anything when it came to dirt biking, which I think a lot of people are probably in the same boat, is Travis Pastrana. Straight TP, bro.
I mean,
That dude's a fucking legend. He's
when
done
it comes
it
to like
all.
freestyle, and he did
Well, he's
win
done
his
everything.
he won his first super mode, right? And that's when he backflipped and got fucking X'd out because he backflipped
I
on the
can't
last jump,
remember.
and then they're like, okay, you're not allowed to do this no more.
That was, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened, right?
I'm trying to. I know what you're talking about.
Last
Last
Yeah.
jump, he just threw something. Like,
Yeah,
at the
he
finish
tried
line.
to, he hucked a backflip on something, and I don't know what happened there, but yeah,
I think it was the last jump, like the
That final
it was the
jump.
final jump. But I don't know
Yeah.
if he won the heat race or whatnot. But yeah, he's God. I love how sporadic he is. He belongs. Like, he's just not quite serious enough to be in like a professional scene like that, and it showed because he ended up going to freestyle motocross and changing the whole face of it. And then like he'll make appearances every now and again and just light the crowd up. And like Red Bull Straight Rhythm when he's racing Josh Hansen and he's on that RMZ 450 frame with a CR500 motor shoved into it, and he just out drags Hansen and then gets to the finish line jump and throws a backflip and lands to flat after winning the race. It's like that's just like where he fits in, is just like those random races where it's like, I hope somebody random like Travis shows up because he'd be the perfect fit for this.
Right.
And so yeah, that's what he fits in best with.
He's
I
a
think.
curveball.
who's that dude that
He
rides
is.
that 500 two-stroke with the fucking cut off fenders?
Oh, Ronnie Mac. Yeah.
Oh wait, you talking about the Uncle Ronnie or Uncle
Ronnie.
Ron?
Uncle Ronnie.
His
Oh,
little name's
fuck.
Ryan Mack.
Ronnie Mac, yeah.
Dude,
That
I've
guy's
honestly
fucking
I
nuts,
looked him
dude.
up because I was like, who the fuck is this dude? And I couldn't find it, but it's Ronnie Mack.
Yeah. Ronnie Mac
Dude, he's such a
69.
goofy motherfucker,
Right,
but he
yeah,
shows
he
up
is.
everywhere.
Right, everywhere,
Dude.
dude.
And he just
He's in the
he
scene.
just does this goofy fucking shit.
That was the best. That was the best way for somebody to make a living at riding dirt bikes was inventing that alter ego.
Right.
Right.
Because it's just become, it's so big.
It's so big.
It's so big, and it just works.
I love how he shows up with the fucking sawzall. And he just fucking
Cuts
chops people's off.
fenders, and yeah, I know. It's so
Him
funny.
and Larry and Tyser. Are my fucking heroes.
I know.
Who's Larry and Tyser?
I'm just gonna fucking send her, bud. It's
Oh,
the
yeah.
guy that's on the old ass fucking
Yeah.
snowmobile, like the 80s fucking snowmobile, and he jumps it off these massive ass berms and
Or
shit.
a shitty old fucking lawnmower.
Oh, I don't think I've seen any
You
of
ever
his
seen him
lawnmower
do that
stuff.
on
No.
those shitty old lawnmower
No.
with, like fridges and like
I
fucking...
no, that's not. I don't know if that's Larry, but I know what you're talking about. It's this Canadian guy,
Yeah, I
like
thought it was
commentating
the
it.
same
Yeah.
Let's send her, bud.
Yeah,
I wish
send
we had
her-
a computer with
I
YouTube right here at the
know.
ready right now
I can
because
YouTube it.
it'd be
Yeah.
no, that video I've watched that so many times just to put my mood in a brighter
Hey, there's a laptop right
Better
next to you
for
too
the
if you
day.
want to use it.
like.
Does Dylan have to turn on?
Oh
I
man,
got it.
it could only be on Instagram, but it was that video just kills me every time I see it.
So I really, if Dylan can hear me, I really want to get into your, basically just, when did you start doing some crazy ass shit? Like what's the first crazy experience you've ever had?
Oh, that's a really good question. Dang it. The first crazy experience I ever had was being with my dad heading down towards Pyramid Lake out in the middle of Black Rock Desert, doing 120 miles of dirt whoops in our Ford pickup with the canopy on and a trailer with our dirt bikes on the back. And they're in the middle of the desert, just like, if this thing breaks down or we're in trouble. Like, just, I don't know. I wouldn't call that crazy, but just like was one of those moments where it kind of got real for me a little bit. And then just like, I don't know, it's so hard to really pinpoint like the first crazy thing. It's just kind of been like I don't know, like turning, I want to say like turning after
Oh, yeah.
16.
Thanks, brother.
Really honestly kind of later down the road. Like, I mean, I definitely had like I don't know, just like, I raced a little bit of motocross as a kid, but was never really that good at it. Like, got my ass kicked most races, but still had a lot of fun and whatnot. But
This fucking dude.
did you find it? Oh, I gotta wait for ads.
You're on an ad. So you're 16.
16, yeah, just like kind of getting into like rode some motocross races and whatnot. It just like wasn't too like, I was doing good. I think I raced the Horn Rapids motocross series that year,
This is the dude you're talking about.
and I don't know if it is. I could probably find it on Instagram and show you guys real quick, but
Is he the dude that jumps like he like jumps the lawnmowers up onto like all the fucking, like it's like a bus or something?
Sure,
Or...
I don't really know what you guys are talking about.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've seen this guy.
Oh, no, you got it. This is the guy.
Yeah, dude, this guy fucking
Dude, he
sends it.
hurts
Holy
himself
shit.
every fucking jump.
He's in like hockey gear
Yeah,
and
that's
shit.
I know.
He jumps, so for the viewers, he's jumping this makeshift.
Pallet.
I think
sack.
it's like a. I don't even know, man. It's like a fucking really fast, like
It's
electric wheelchair thing that he's trying to jump over like a couple dryers, and he definitely hurt himself.
He's got a fucking life vest on.
No, he's set up to fail. Is the thing. Like,
Yeah,
when
he's
you-
like, okay, I'm gonna hurt myself.
A hockey fucking helmet.
Look at this thing, dude. It's janky as hell.
What the fuck?
I don't know how he was
dude?
going that fast. He was going pretty quick. Like this, it's no bigger than a 100 motor.
It's like a little go-kart fucking motor or some shit.
All right, you're good. So back when you were 16, you were on this trip with your dad in a Ford Ranger.
No, that was like the first time it kind of got like the first crazy thing we did was like this big expedition down to Pyramid Lake where we ended up having this really cool camping trip and whatnot, and but we ended up going on this route that was pretty off the map for the most part. And it turned into like 120 miles of just like dirt whoops, and we're just on this like, and like in a Ford F-250 with a little trailer and whatnot. So
Oh, he had a
damn.
trailer.
Yeah.
Loaded?
2 bikes and a few.
Oh,
I can just
fuck.
imagine this right now.
The whole fucking way.
It was a long day. So finally got on a lake bed, ripped across to I don't remember what the town was, but it was just like I remember just feeling like safe afterwards. I was just like, oh, thank God, like we're good. But no, it was like I don't know if you can count that, but it was like kind of my first real taste of like kind of the adventure aspect and whatnot that he introduced me to. And then like over the years, there was like a number of them. Like we'd go on ice climbs or hikes up in the Elkhorns or the Wallowas and whatnot, and then we go riding, and then we go down to the Alvord Desert and camp out and ride down there. It's just like there was just kind of a string of stuff that I just got to got to do growing up, and like I'd go back to school and like kind of talk about it, and it was like they acted like I was bragging about it, and I was like, no, I'm just trying to have a conversation. Like this is what I did this weekend, and
Right,
whatnot.
just
And
weekend
I'm
fun.
sorry that it sounds apparently cooler than what you did for the spring break, but whatever, man. Like it was like
I feel like that happens a lot.
I definitely ran into that quite a bit growing up and whatnot. But
Like, I'm sorry my dad
yeah.
loves me. No.
It's like sorry my family, the whole family and whatnot are just out getting every weekend.
You guys
and
sound like a
whatnot,
really
so.
exciting fucking
Fun family,
man.
yeah.
It was, yeah. No, it still is. Like, yeah, my mom water skis and whatnot. And they ski, and that's how they met. They literally, my fucking dad was repping down Broadway, and he's grown up on that hill, and at Anthony Lakes, and my mom was a ski racer from Mount Hood, and she went blowing by him, and he's like, it's like me being on Virtue Flats, and some chick passes me, and like I know every inch of that trail, I know every rock out there at Virtue, and it'd be like some girl passing me and hitting a rock and wadding her brains out. Well, the same thing happens to her. Like she hooked an edge and just went freaking ass over tea kettle, and that was where that started. So that's how they met, literally. So
Oh, wow.
right there on first sight. But yeah, no, we all, like my whole family, we were always just outdoors growing up, whether it was going down to Hell's Canyon Reservoir and skiing as a kid and whatnot, and just as a family, or going down to Brownlee. Like we did a lot.
That sounds fucking exciting, actually.
It was a great way to grow up.
Did your dad do anything like professionally or
No,
like...
he never raced professionally. He just always rode for fun and whatnot. He was like for quite a while there, back in the late 80s, early 90s, like in terms of climbing, like he was right up there with everybody that's climbed as ever. They've all heard of Steve House, obviously. Well, that's one of his good friends because he's from LeGrand. He was right up there with them. But
so Steve House is the climber?
Yeah, he's a pretty renowned, world-famous climber.
Oh, really?
wow.
And yeah, he was right up there with them in terms of ability and whatnot. But, had a family and whatnot. So that was, Steve has a family now, and like his kids are like 6, and that's really what the difference was. So nonetheless, we all like still climbed every weekend and whatnot, going camping and whatnot, riding. We just had a whole swath of stuff to do every weekend. It was just kind of like, it wasn't just one thing. We always just were like, well, what do you guys want to do? Like, camp in a big bar, go riding. Like, what do you want to do? Like, it's just, we had a lot of outlets, to say the least.
Right.
We were very diversified in that area.
And that's how you still are today.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's no other way to be. I mean, I honestly, like, yeah, I've been riding a lot, like climbing and whatnot, ice climbing. I haven't really done hardly any of that lately, but every summer though, I do get to go play on rubber boats all summer long in the rapids in Hell's Canyon and hunt on the Sun River. So, and that's a nice taste breaker for sure from the whole dirt bike scene. But I'm always missing it. Like 2 weeks in, I'm just like, I just want to ride.
Dude, you're honestly probably the most interesting person I've fucking talked to in the last year. Like, you're fucking awesome.
Right.
You're fucking,
everybody's been so mild and bland
dude, you're
lately.
so good. Not only are you you're a good talker, you're natural in this fucking mic
You
thing.
don't seem like you're nervous
You're
or anything.
I mean, whether you're not nervous or not, dude, you're coming out here really well right now.
Dude,
Yeah.
you get enough Barley Browns in your system, you can do a lot of things you thought were impossible, man.
IPAs.
I
Get a
understand
good
that. That's
growler
fucking
and-
good. They make great beer.
They do
They
make
do.
great beer,
You
man.
want to shout them out real quick?
Oh, absolutely. No,
Let's
those
hear it.
guys have, man, yeah, Luke's helped cover my freaking gate fees for racing for, like, I remember, like, halfway through my first year, he's like, dude, you are crushing it out there, and you are wearing our jerseys, and I love it, and I want to pay for your entry fees from here on out. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, sounds good. So, no, those guys have helped me out so much. Like, yeah.
Speaking of that, we're drinking their beer right now.
We
So
literally
cheers
are
on that.
drinking their
cheers.
beer.
Well, I'm not drinking it, but I was.
Yeah, you're drinking a buckskin in a glass.
Close enough. No, not really, but No, they make great beer and they're supporting you very well, which I
Yeah.
can appreciate.
Yeah.
Your jersey's sick as fuck.
Do you have like an IG of your own or anything?
No.
Do you have anything you want to shout out at all? Like anybody you want to thank or anything?
I'm not. Yeah, not kind of not.
Let's hear your
off the
Instagram
cuff.
real
No.
Let's hear your Instagram. What is
Oh,
it?
it's Hazard Hauter, 2 Z's. So
But
that's
check him out. Give him a follow.
that's
Dude's
the
got
name.
Some interesting stuff on there.
yeah, that's the name the
Dude,
old man
he's
wanted
a
to name
very
me.
interesting person. He
Yeah, don't let him down talk it.
he like lives a life you want to live, or he lives a life that you want to see or even appreciate.
He's like the Dos Equis guy.
But I really want to get into your rock climbing or your ice climbing. I guess you would consider it.
I haven't done much of that. I mean, I have done some, but I haven't done like enough to like really speak on like, oh, this is like what I do like for a fun. It's like, but I have gone on some adventures with Dad before doing stuff like that. Like,
Well, let's hear him. Come on. Let's hear some
right
stories,
up here,
man.
right up here out of Pine Creek. Actually, I've been on a few up there with him. Like this one time, we loaded up and went up Pine Creek and camped out there like early March and did like this full on like half mix alpine climb and then rappelled off up on Rock
Oh,
Butte.
shit.
Like,
Is it controlled?
Yeah. I mean, we had ropes and everything and anchor points, so yeah, it was controlled. So he led, I would just follow. That's how it really boiled down to. But we went up there and realized we packed ropes that were like not long enough. So
Oh no.
he was like, I was belaying him, and oh my god, I've never told him about this.
Oh fuck.
I
You think he's gonna watch it?
Oh yeah, no, he will. I was like down there belaying, and I dropped. I was like, I had belay gloves and I had climbing gloves. Well, so he was still climbing, and I had to start climbing. Kind of thing happened. So I had my belay gloves on, and I had to put my climbing gloves on. I dropped his belay gloves in the snow and whatnot, and just had to start climbing. And we went back and looked for him the next year, and found one of them, I think. But yeah, he was like, he'd had those gloves since like he was a senior in high school.
Oh damn.
So they were like super sentimental, and I felt so bad afterwards. I was like, I'm really sorry that I just lost your gloves, but I didn't know you were gonna start tugging on the end of the rope, like all the way at the top already. So
Oh fuck.
yeah,
I gotta take a piss real quick.
that was bad. I felt pretty bad about that. But yeah, no, the whole thing on that was pretty. It was a really intense climb because it was full conditions. Like it was like today, snow and sleeting and whatnot up there, and like little spindrift avalanches just kept coming down on top of us.
Oh fuck.
And whatnot. So like you'd like we kind of hear like a little coming down and whatnot,
Right.
and then you'd end up like just keep climbing, ending towards the top and whatnot.
So how experienced were you at that point?
I mean, I was good enough. I had enough natural talent at it to where I could climb up and whatnot and not get too fatigued, but it was definitely like a bit nerve wracking.
Right.
But that one particularly actually wasn't that bad, just because like there was just like, I mean, I had to go up. There was no ifs, ands, or buts around it.
There's no going back. It's just up.
It was like one of those situations you burn the boats on the island. So I had to just
Yeah.
climb, and so I climbed, and yeah, we got up and traversed the snowfield, and then climbed up a little bit higher, and then got to the top, and then we wrapped off, and that was our day. So
right.
yeah, I've been on a few climbs with him before, where that's the most extreme one that I can remember.
So is your dad like all self-taught, or did he learn it from his dad, or like where does he have all his knowledge?
He learned how to ski from his dad and whatnot, I believe. So my grandfather, obviously, but he pretty much like self-taught as much as I know. Like,
oh damn.
yeah, I mean, it's not uncommon for him in the wintertime to go up to Rock Creek or the Pine Creek headwall up there and literally solo ice climbs.
Oh damn.
With no belaying.
What?
Yeah, he'll just go
Damn.
he'll literally just go stick picks and whatnot up a
What
ice
the
climb.
hell?
It's not like obviously too steep,
But still.
like, if obviously, yeah, that's a fact. Like, if you yeah, I always have in the back of my head too. I'm like, oh, if this happens, you're gonna go for a tumble, obviously, but
Right. I've seen videos of people like shit shearing off, and dudes just like, bye.
You ever seen those
Like,
documentaries about like the peak people? They like go free climbers.
What do you mean?
So there's two documentaries that I know, and I'm pretty sure one of the mountains in Utah, and then this other dude that does he doesn't want no cameras, no one around him when he does a free climb.
oh, I
And
just watched that recently.
And he ended up dying at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
That's fucking tragic,
fell?
bro. No, so there's this big ass mountain in a different. Marshall, can you Google this?
AKA Jamie.
Yeah. But hey, if you need to go to the bathroom, there's a picture right there.
Do you guys have any Zens?
Zins? Yeah.
Right here. Oh no. Yeah.
Man said he needs some nicotine.
I'll actually take
What
one
am I
with you.
Googling?
So type in documentary peak climbers, and then there's gonna be 2 of them. Type in Netflix on it too, and yeah. So when you find it, there's gonna be 2 different ones. And I just want to know the country that he climbs this mountain in. So this guy,
It's in Alaska, I think, is where it happened.
no, he died in Alaska.
He died. Okay.
So he climbs one in like, huh?
Is the movie called Alps? Is
Um,
that what he died on? The Alps?
let me see it.
It's on Netflix.
Yes, it's
He has like goggles and it's like a facial.
Oh no, that's
a movie.
that's
Oh,
13.
Peaks.
That's
Alps
14
is the
peaks.
one
That's
next to it,
Nims.
Sorry. Looks like a free climber.
What's the next one called?
It's gonna be with ice
The
and shit.
Alps and then
It's on
cliffhanger and then the climb, but the cliffhanger and climb look like.
He does one in like starts with a F or a PH, and
So what is
it's
this
this
guy
crazy
free solo?
mountain, bro. It's a crazy mountain that literally just goes straight up. It's like a fucking jagged mountain, and it goes to him trying to climb it one day, right? And he goes up to the base of it, or is that
Called Free
base?
Solo.
Yeah.
And he looks up at it and he's like, okay, I'm gonna start climbing. Gets halfway up and then bad weather happens, so he has to climb back down. And he's like, okay, we're gonna call this off. The next day at night, at like 12 o'clock at night, bro, it has great weather, and he's like, I'm going. Fuck this. And the whole thing
Now's
about
the
him
time.
is, so there's 2 of them on net. There might be more than 2 on Netflix, but there's 2 like major ones on Netflix. And the first one is like this guy in Utah, I think it's Utah, climbing a big ass mountain with no snow, no nothing, free climbing, which is incredible. Like,
Right.
could you imagine climb?
Is that Alex Lowe?
Type in one that died.
That's what I did, and that's what I'm reading.
Okay,
right now.
then yeah. So type in the mountain that he climbed before
Before his
at
death.
the Netflix special, and so this guy climbed this mountain with ice, dry, every environment you can imagine. We got Corona. You want one?
I'm gonna taper off for a minute.
All right. And yeah, he's climbing this mountain, dude. Crazy mountain, and he doesn't want no one videotaping him. Where's that opener at? We got to use it. There we go. I wouldn't
Norvik Studio.
Don't try
Shout
to
out.
don't try to do it like that.
I got a buddy that can take his mouth and just rip one of these off with his teeth, and it makes me cringe every
Just
time I
does
see
it
him do
animal
it.
style.
Oh, dude, he's natural at that shit. Did you see
damn.
I'll
that?
take that if you wanna.
My cousin can like bite off a can.
That's what I'm. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
so
he,
bad.
he can
Monster
just like
style.
take a bottle and just like.
There's no
But
way.
yeah. Shout out Norvik Studio bottle opener. It's pretty badass.
So-
Solid brass. Check them out.
So the whole thing about this dude is he doesn't want no cameras on him. He doesn't want anyone going up with him. It's more like he's gonna solo climb it real quick
Right.
with nothing,
He wants
no
to do
ropes,
natural.
no nothing, and then he'll have a camera on him. Which that's what he did.
Yeah.
He did natural, and they'll like kind of pin where he might be at the time. And then I don't even know if they videotaped him doing it again. Whether or not that's extreme.
They never did. Just because
Yeah.
he just like wants the purity of doing it all by himself and with nothing.
You
And
don't
then-
need the clout.
And then
You know.
they end this
No.
documentary, right? Where they thought they were going to. And he went on an Alaskan trip with a buddy, which is all ropes, no solo or no ropes or any solo.
Just completely solo climb.
He had ropes,
They had ropes on the descent.
but
I
he
think
he
on
did
the-
with the buddy, so he had some with him. He's just doing it for fun and like enjoyment, basically. Avalanche happened and he died.
Oh fuck.
They ended up
Yeah.
flying over, like, so the documentary decided to pay for a helicopter, decided to pay for everything to find out where he was at.
Oh, to recover his body and everything, or
No, just to try to see if he's still alive, type
Oh,
of thing,
damn.
or recover his body.
right?
But they look into a valley where
There's a crevasse and there's a rope across it that's orange,
Yeah.
bright orange, and they're like, "Oh, that's the rope." And
Oh fuck.
it's like
Yeah.
fucking
Damn, some
10
pretty
feet,
tragic
10
shit.
feet into the snow.
yeah, it was pretty. It was
Damn.
terrible.
So like it's tragic as hell. But dude,
He was going
that's
for
why
it.
you gotta live life, man.
Right, he was fucking doing what he loved.
Not
Like
even
he
that.
was going
Fuck that.
for it.
Like, yeah, you're doing what you love, and it's definitely benefit doing that. But he died doing a very easy climb for him. Like, it
Right.
was like a simple climb. He's like, okay, this is going to be a fun climb. This is like going to work out with someone for him, you know? There's ropes. There's everything involved. It's not free climbing. There's not a solo climb. There's nothing.
Yeah, the danger level is down quite a bit.
Yeah, and that happens.
Right.
Like, dude, he didn't die doing the most extreme thing he climbed. So live life, man. Do the most
Yeah.
extreme thing you can do.
Right.
You're going to die doing something stupid. I'm not even saying that was stupid. That was fucking extreme, period. Because I don't know how extreme that was or not. I probably wouldn't even try to do it.
It's probably out of all of our levels.
But at the same time, it's like people die. Have you ever seen what is it called? Halfway? It's about the army from the United States and Japan. They're fighting people in planes, basically. So in that movie, I think it's called Halfway, it's called Half Bay, Half something like that, and it's about fighter pilots. And one of the pilots are like, "Why are you not scared of anything?" He goes, "My dad worked on skyscrapers his entire life. He was up on a fucking 500 feet up on a steel bar, welding shit." He goes, "But he got hit by a taxi and died."
Oh fuck.
He's like, "It's not the hard things that kill you in life. It's the simple."
Right.
That's a great
That's
way to look
why
at
I
that.
always will do the hard things and not the simple.
Right.
I'm not scared to do the hard things. I'm more scared of doing the simple. It's kind of how he was explaining it, but it's a great way to live life. You might as well just do what you really think is sketchy or scared or anything.
Right.
It's a great way, dude.
Well, we're all born terminal.
And that's how I think about you.
Oh yeah.
Dude, you do some dude, I
living on the edge.
literally stalked you on Instagram. And I was like, this motherfucker is living the life I wish I did. Kinda. In a point. Like, I'm like, I wish I caught a sturgeon. I wish I did some ice climbing.
Bro.
Which
Was
I
to race the
will.
Baja.
There's some shit. Yeah, I wish I raced Baja. But I'm not that great of a rider, so I'm not gonna like go full force on that yet. Even probably ever. Like, I'll probably, that's something you that's on your bucket list. Like, you can, dude, go to the bar and just tell people, girls that you want to hook up with or anything, like, hey, I raised the Baja one. Even if they know what you're talking about or not, if they do, that's a bonus. You're like, oh shit, she knows what Baja.
He's like, yep, I'm getting laid.
You know what I'm saying?
No. No.
Like, I'm not saying that's like the main source of that, but dude, that's a icebreaker. Like, you've done so many things that other people have never
Right.
done or
You've
even
got a
thought they
conversation
wanted
piece.
to.
Yeah, I've done a few things that have been like, for being in Baker County, it's like, really? Somebody from Baker just did this?
Well, for being a young
Dude,
guy too.
You're
Yeah.
known. I promise you right now, you're known in Baker. Like,
Yeah.
this might be your hometown, which it says in one of the catalog or
Articles on the internet.
our-
It doesn't
our-
say that. It says he says
this is
what you
he
said.
says
It
this
says
is his
I call
hometown.
this place home for sure. Like,
Yeah, you've been
LeGrand's
around
always
here.
going to be my hometown, but like, all of Eastern Oregon, like LeGrand, these two valleys are my
You're
stomping
popular.
grounds.
You're
Right.
almost famous here.
Almost.
And I'm about to
I
make
guess.
you. I'm about to make it the tiniest bit more.
I got
famous.
back from Baja, and it was
And you're
just
about to make
like-
me a tiny bit more famous.
Yeah,
too.
I will say when I got back from Baja, it was like, holy crap! Like, it was like definitely like I definitely had a lot of people, like, I'd bump into people and they'd just be like asking me all these questions. I'm like, yeah, that was. I always tell them the same thing. I was like, no, it was life changing. It was, yeah, because it was going down there and doing that. So
You remind me of Cowboy.
Cowboy Cerrone.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Dude,
yeah.
he's a fighter, and
Just
that's
a
why
wild
that's
man,
why he's
though,
famous.
too.
But he does deep diving.
oh god, that guy's yeah.
He's a wild
Would you
man.
ever do that?
No, I would never do that deep.
Really?
I mean, I've gone into some caves in Hell's Canyon. Actually, so Big Bar has limestone. That's why it's such good climbing, because the cliffs are limestone, and that's like, it's like being, if you're a climber, limestone's like Velcro, from what I understand. So,
Stick
but
to
it
it.
also creates caves
Mm.
that, man, you can go spelunking in Hell's Canyon,
Oh fuck.
and you can go spelunking hardcore in Hell's Canyon.
What does that mean?
Caving.
Spelunking, yeah.
Like
Spelunking?
sketchy ass caves.
Sketchy caves. Yeah.
Okay.
There's
You have, like, a
for the
gas lamp
viewers.
fucking
Yeah, there's some.
shit on your like those gas lamps. What you want because you don't want your battery to.
Are you
die.
talking about somewhere you have to like dive? In the
No,
cave?
none of that yet.
Oh, okay. I was
It's
gonna
all
say,
just
fuck.
it's all out of it's all out like there's no water involved usually. Depends on what time of year you go. If you go like in springtime when the runoff is happening, yeah, you're gonna have some water in the caves, but you just
Right.
walk through it, no big deal. But that's usually when we turn around anyways. But some of them go back in there and they open up into these great big rooms, and yeah, there's some caves down there that have some pretty cool pictographs, and thankfully most of them are barred off by the Forest Service and whatnot. Like there's some
Right.
ancient Native American cave paintings up there at Big Bar, like Redfish Cave is a cool one where like they painted like salmon, the sockeye that used to run up the
Oh,
Snake
wow.
River, like in bright red colors. They went and painted that. It's pretty cool.
Did you ever have any
Um,
like weird, creepy feelings around any of those? places or
No,
anything?
the
Like,
creepy feeling, like, I mean, I've been in there before. Like, there's one in there that like I've gone into and I've had to get on my belly and crawl for a minute. But
oh,
I was like 10 years old, and my dad took me in this cave, and I was like 10, and he's like freaked out. I'm like, this is cool. I'm like, no, thanks. I'm good. I'm still working on my Corona, the only Rona that I'll take, and it's like, yeah,
Smart man.
it's yeah. So like I've gone in there before with him, and like years ago we took a bunch of group of guys in there, and this one big fat dude couldn't make it through that gap, so we had to go
oh
back.
fuck.
And this pack rat came back into the cave and freaked everybody out and whatnot because it was like running down the cave trying to get to its little home and whatnot. But
So the big
Yeah.
boy couldn't get skinny, huh?
no, he could not. No, but this guy could climb like 5'12" and whatnot, like these really hard rock climbs and whatnot. He's like 200 plus pound, like 250 pounds.
How tall
But
is he?
He's like 5'8", but he looks like the freaking mountain shrunken
Oh,
down off
fuck.
Game of Thrones.
He's
Like
just a
he's
big
got
ass
like,
boy.
he's got fingers and whatnot and grip strength like you wouldn't believe, which is what you need for climbing and whatnot. And that's why he was so good at it. But yeah, I think his name was, we called him the Steak, but I think his name
The
was
Steak.
Russell Schultz or something like that. But yeah, he was a good climber.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
yeah, no, it's that whole caving thing down there. Though I did that a lot as a kid, just because my dad would go climbing and I'd be like bored because I didn't want to climb and I just wanted to go fuck around in the caves and whatnot and just explore and everything. So
You're not a big climber?
no, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. Heights are not my thing. Like
Right.
it's weird what your fears can be. Like you can have a total comfort zone in something that just terrifies other people, and other people will have comfort zone and fears that absolutely terrify you. Like I remember taking my avalanche certification a few years ago because I was working for Wallowa Alpine Huts, and my eyes got opened up to the possibilities of avalanches.
Oh yeah.
And I could never go up to a slope after that in the backcountry then think of the same way. I couldn't pull up and be like, oh, this looks so sick. Like, it was always just like, okay, if this goes, I'm going to get sifted through this tree well, get buried here. It was like I was so much more like in tune with like, okay, this could happen, but it's not going to happen. kind of thing.
Right.
More of a sketchy outlook.
Yeah. And yeah, it was a very, I was aware.
Well,
of
it's
it
like
after
sadly
that. And-
around here, people don't really like get the Avi training that they need, or even wear the Avi gear that they need. And it's
God.
like, dude, people don't realize the situations they're putting themselves in out here. I mean,
Especially if you don't go through the training like he did.
yeah, knowing the
No.
terrain and what's gonna fucking slope
Think-
off, like.
Yeah. Oh man. Thank
So
God.
obviously your favorite thing is dirt biking,
Yes.
and you're are you licensed for rafting?
Yeah, I get a license every year to go and guide people down there, which is what you
what's
have
the
to have.
license like?
I
what
don't
do you
know.
gotta go
I've been the outfit that I've worked for the last 5 years that I'm no longer going to be working for a while.
through? Why is that?
It's just I needed to be a little bit closer to home and whatnot. So I just went and found another outfit out of Cambridge, Idaho to work for this year and whatnot. Plus I just needed a change. So, and they have more trips that are more outlined. I've rafted Hell's Canyon and the Salmon River and the Grand Ronde, and each one's a different river, and they each bring different things to the table and whatnot. And for me, I feel like I'm the best suited in Hell's Canyon because the fishing scene and whatnot down there, it's like people get in a boat with me and whatnot, and we are just catching fish from sun up to sundown, pretty much, like on the water As soon as we leave in the morning, we're catching fish all the way till lunch, have lunch, then go back on the water, fish, and then we get back to camp. And it's just like that's just my niche that I fit, and that's what I bring to the table and whatnot. So it's just like if you're gonna be like it's the best, honestly, like it's the best job to have in Northeast Oregon in my opinion, is being a raft guide, because you're outside for weeks on end every summertime. Like my record for a year was like 22 trips.
Damn.
On the summer, which is like 4 or 5 day trips and
Right.
whatnot. So it's
So you guys pack everything. You guys
we
pack
pack everything,
tent,
man.
The food,
We
the fucking
yeah.
everything.
Yeah, I started in like 2017. I got my dad was taking a wilderness first responder course, and he got me into it too, and I went and took it, and it opened
Great thing to have.
it opened this doorway into the whole outdoor world, because I had the certification to basically be the first responder to somebody that's messed up in the wilderness, and having that allowed me to get this job at this outfit out of Joseph, and I was able to get acquainted with that whole thing. And then I started the first 2 years just running the gear boat, going ahead of all the guests down to the camp, rowing downstream, pulling in, tying off the boat, unloading like 1,000+ pounds of gear every day for 3 hours. Like just unloading and loading the gear boat every day is about 5 hours worth of work.
Oh fuck.
So you get freaking cut lifting all of the tents, the cots, the pads, the dry boxes, and setting the tents up, moving the kitchen up to the spot, bringing the kitchen back down to the gear boat, and then just rowing the boat downstream and whatnot. It's a process, and doing it all summer long and whatnot, it really cuts you out physically too and whatnot. So and plus you're on the boat all day with somebody that you're working with, so you get to know them really well and whatnot. And it's just like the best outdoor office job out there in my opinion, because it's like you're right there on the water, so if you get hot you just jump in, cool off for a while
Right.
and whatnot, and then you're outside and you're on the river. Like river time is just something that I wish more people were aware of it around here in Eastern Oregon. It's like we have this awesome resource just like an hour away from Baker and 2 hours away from La Grande. Like, man, if you guys just knew what this was like down here, I'm surprised the scene around here just isn't more about it. Like Idaho, it's like they got the Salmon River, which is the largest river, undammed river in the lower 48, and it's like a lot of people over there run the river every year. Generations of families do river trips and whatnot, so it's passed down. And then over here it's like kind of few and far between, I've found, for the most part. So it's just such an awesome way to spend your summers and whatnot, just working for a river outfitter, just going down and with people you will probably never see again for the rest of your life.
But it's an experience.
But it's an experience, and you just get to be with these people that like you just connect with almost immediately sometimes and whatnot. I mean, for me, I figured out a few things about guest relationships and customer service that I would have never learned in restaurants or in the food industry and whatnot. It's pretty similar, but it's like you're just such a you're living with these people for 4 to 5 days, 3 to 5 days, 6 days, sometimes 7 days at a time, and like you get to know kind of their like what they need and whatnot. And it's just so cool to just to bring these people in and just like give them this experience of like being outside and catering to them and whatnot, and just like bringing like just catching fish and all the time and every day, and just having such a good time, handing them beers and whatnot, going through rapids
Right.
together, and just having just this cool experience with them. It's just something that like I wish I could put it into how special it is on words, but unless you're out there on the river, in the sunshine, sitting on the pad, on the water and whatnot, it's just something you're never gonna know the full value of it until you're out there like living it and whatnot.
Fuck, man, you're making me want to get out there right now and do this shit.
It's
like,
so
fuck.
much. You should, man. It's like Hell's Canyon Adventures does day trips down the Snake, where you can go lap the meat of the river, the big rapids, and get jet boated back up to your car the same day.
Oh damn.
And it's only like a couple $100 per head,
Right.
but it's
Right.
worth every freaking minute of it, just because you get to go through all these big class 4 rapids and fish and whatnot, and hang out.
So you get to stop and fish?
Oh yeah, you just hang out in eddies. Some outfits run different programs where like some are expedition style, where it's like they're more food and drink oriented, and then some are like the same way, but it's like you go shorter distances to certain takeout points, so you get to hang out in certain parts of the river a lot more during the daytime and just fish and whatnot. And then you just hang out, socialize and whatnot, and just like Hell's Canyon, I don't, if anybody knows how good the fishing is down there, it's good.
It's great.
Right.
It's great. It's so good. You just get to take off from the dam and just start catching bass and trout left and right, and catch a few trout, cut them up and put them on the sturgeon rod and toss that out and catch a freaking fish catch a fish that's been unchanged for millions of years, literally. Like, they found this niche that they've just been able to just hold on tight and just have had little to no evolutionary adaptations except for just just being how they are and whatnot. So
aren't they pretty much kind of like from what I understand, they're pretty much like a bottom feeder, aren't they?
They evolved it, like the salmon runs every year. Unfortunately, dams kind of screwed that for them, but they're so resilient that they're still here, obviously. And white sturgeon particularly, they've adapted to freshwater living and whatnot, and they make do with what they can, and they're still here. So the biggest threat to them is honestly us and me. Catching them for sport and whatnot is honestly their biggest enemy right now, because I catch some sturgeon that just got hook scars in their mouths like you wouldn't believe from rafters, jet boaters, you name it. They just go down and they just want to have the same experience and just catch a giant fish. It's just like, I remember when I went down there, like my first rafting trip ever down Hell's Canyon. Oh my gosh, I've told this story so many times, and every time it never gets
now
old.
People are going to actually listen to it.
My first ever Hell's Canyon rafting trip was a bachelor trip from these dudes from Texas. It's those entire 35-year-old dudes' culmination of life's best friends.
Oh fuck!
And it was 2017, so weed had just been made legal in Washington State, and that's where they flew into, was Clarkston. So they flew into Clarkston, and one of them found out that, hey, remember that weed's legal up here? They went to Canna for Life dispensary in Clarkston and rang up a receipt for a 3-day rafting trip for $2,800.
Oh,
damn.
So to say the least, they were so, because I've been on rafting trips where the guests have been out of control, drunk, show up to the boathouse before the trip with like a pallet full of Coors Light. They get paranoid in Clarkston, because we're going on a salmon trip over in Idaho. They don't think they got enough beer, so they go get a second fucking pallet. And they show up to the boat ramp with all these cases of Coors Light. And, we already have all this beer pre-packed in coolers. And we got to frickin' drop these cases of beer in our footwells because we don't have any space for it. So it's just gravity rigged in our boats.
Right.
It's like,
Jesus Christ.
and I've seen just these guests just get out of control on these like drunk trips and whatnot. But on that one particular trip when they went and bought all that weed, it was just the exact opposite. They were so mellow, so chill. They ate all the fucking food, honestly, because they even hired a chef from Plate and Pitchfork in Portland to come on and cook for them. So we ate like kings on that trip.
That's a bonus for you.
We eat
right?
great anyways, but usually we're the ones making all the food every night. Like, we're getting up, cooking breakfast, and we're making lunch for them every day, cooking dinner. So this trip we were like able to take more time off than usual. And my first trip, I was like, oh, this is freaking sweet. I'm getting paid to do this. Are you kidding me? This is the best job ever. And yeah, no, there was just those guys buying all that freaking pot. It was so awesome because they were just so mellow, just like, they stayed up late, obviously, but they were just giggling by the fire and laughing, and like, it was just a good time compared to like, some guest gets too drunk and tries fighting the owner of the outfit on the same freaking trip because he's on it and whatnot. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
That sounds like a great time, actually.
Oh, yeah. Being a bystander, standing over in the kitchen watching the guest scene unfold over there in the wing zone was pretty funny, but...
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to be silent. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No worries, man. You're good.
I'm trying to be the best over here.
You're fucking crushing it.
He's doing his job right now, that's for sure.
I brought up a bunch of stuff you guys
that sounds
never let me... I found, like, The Alps, which was the movie about a guy that died, and then there was another movie...
Hey, can you reach in there real quick? Yeah. Grab those, any beer you see from the bottom shelf.
I knew that growler was going to get moved as soon as you freaking opened the door.
You got some White Claws, some Coors.
Oh, God. No laws with the claws.
Oh.
Claws with claws. There's free solo National
Grab like 4.
Geographic documentaries.
I know the documentary
We're
that
good.
we're referring to is on Netflix. If you have an account, you can probably find it on there if you were to log into
Pretty
it.
quick.
I have it on my phone. So
Yeah, look up climbing documentaries on Netflix, and you
Hey.
should probably be able to find what that.
I was just trying to figure out the mountain, and I got curious.
He had a really interesting name. I can't remember what it was, but he
Yeah,
was
it's
like the
very
interviews I
interesting.
watched of him. He was a really interesting kid and whatnot. And yeah,
So let's hear about your. I want to hear about your most exciting times on the water.
oh god, this is gonna be another hour at least.
Yeah, that's
You got
all right,
time?
bro.
I got tons of time. No man, I'm
Okay.
good. So
All right, we got
cool.
time. So the only thing we have to
Man.
worry about is when that starts beeping, we just have to change the battery.
no worries.
Which-
Yeah,
What are we looking at for?
Yeah.
Is it
You're
pretty
at
low?
An hour and 50 right now.
No. What's the?
The
battery.
battery meter at.
It's up. Should no. Yeah.
No, there's nothing battery wise.
All right. So when it starts beeping, we're gonna have to take a little pause
Which
to
is
put
fine.
a new battery in, which is fine. We do it every episode almost.
Yeah, hey, I just want to say thanks again for Cole coming out,
Dude,
man.
you're-
Thanks.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate
Thank
it,
you.
dude.
Not
This is fun.
only are you very interesting, you're
Yeah.
fucking
Cool as fuck.
A nice guy, too,
dude.
man.
You're
a nice
so
guy.
natural
Yeah.
right now. Like I don't know how. Like, I doubt you came here nervous. But
oh trust me, I did.
Oh, I'm sure
Were
3
you?
random guys he's
'Cause
never met before.
I
and he's
guarantee
just
you right now.
coming in, like,
so this
fuck.
is what happened. I'm used to doing podcasts with my buddies,
Right.
and when they showed up before you, because I warned them to, I'm like, dude, I can't. I had to take a couple shots before you showed up. I'll be honest. I was like, dude, I'm so nervous because this is our actual first interview
Right.
with a dude. Like
Yeah,
but
our
dude,
first
you came
guest, man.
out perfect. Like I can't complain at all.
That's good to know.
You are
No, but-
natural on the mic.
Yeah.
You're natural. You're everything.
Yeah,
Like,
you
dude,
seem
you
like
came
you're
out here with
comfortable.
knowledge. You're fucking unbelievably good, and I dig it. I fucking appreciate it. I fucking.
Absolutely.
There's
Yeah,
no way.
Appreciate it, guys.
Cheers,
Thank you.
motherfuckers. There's one thing I gotta say though. So I'm at Philadelphia's today,
No.
and
They make a damn good Philly steak sandwich
Dude,
there. I mean,
Marshall's
My
brother
brother's
works
there.
the
there.
thing is though, the one at Barley's, I'm not gonna lie, gives it a run for its money. That beer
Oh,
steak
dude.
sandwich that they make there.
yeah, their beer cheese sandwich definitely beats it.
God dang it,
I'm not
that's
gonna
good.
lie.
Tasty.
The only reason I'm there is because my girl works there, and I go there and drink and talk to her for a while.
Yeah.
but I'm there, right? And this girl shows. I don't want to say older lady, but this older lady shows up, and first thing she says, the owners are sitting there. The owner is two. I'm at the bar. He's 2 bar stools
What's
away
that?
from me.
I know the owner of that outfit. What's his name again?
I couldn't tell you.
He's an older guy.
Yeah, he does plumbing.
Yeah.
Tom.
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 Let's hope you're right.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I'm right. It's my brother's boss.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
No, well,
So
Tom it is.
let's hope it's Tom. Tom, shout out to you.
Sorry if we
Shout out
fucked it
to Philadelphia. You guys are doing a really good job.
Mhm.
But I'm sitting there at the bar drinking a beer, and this girl comes in. She's like a regular, I think, and she orders her regular, which I don't really know what that was, but. And then she looks over at Tom and she goes, "There's this fucking Tahoe out there, or this SUV with 'Don't Mind I Drink' YouTube. I don't really know what that means." And I'm just sitting there like laughing, like, smiling, right? And she's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna look it up." And I'm like just waiting for her to look
Waiting.
my way.
Right.
And then she looks. I'm like, "Yeah, it's a podcast. It's about basically right now. It's about my buddies and me drinking and talking about our opinions, basically."
Right.
I'm like, "We have our first guest tonight." And she goes, "Oh, so it's a podcast. Do I have to download an app for this?"
Oh, fuck.
I'm like, "No, it's just on YouTube. You got it." Like, and she goes straight to it, finds it, looks at me. She goes, "This is it, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's it." She goes, clicks on the first video. I don't know if this first or second one, because we only have 2 videos up right now. And by the end of the week, we'll have
At least 2 or 3 more.
3 more.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Yeah, that's it." And she goes, "All right, like and subscribe." I'm like, "Oh shit."
Right on.
I'm like, "I appreciate this a lot." I'm like, that's why I put it on my car. Hey, shout out to you, lady. I didn't catch your name. I didn't ask it. I apologize. I should have asked your name. And if you see this or not,
Oh, she'll be stoked.
Yeah, to
Right.
this part, I shout you out. You're a fucking boss.
Yeah, thanks for subscribing.
Next time, I'll buy you drinks. I should have bought her a drink. I thought about it, but I left and came back, and she was gone before I came back.
Oh, damn.
And I was like, shit, because I was gonna buy her a couple of drinks. I'm not fucking rich. I wasn't gonna buy her because she ordered like 3 meal, like not meals, but 2 appetizers and 3 drinks. So I was gonna buy her drinks.
Right.
But yeah, shout out to you. You're a fucking boss for doing that in front of me. At least, like,
Right.
literally, it was like, oh look, like and subscribe. I'm like, oh fuck.
You're like, all right.
I had Kira, which is my girl, and her sister, which works there. She's a manager, and it's Callie. We're all they're sitting in the background smiling, bro, like laughing, like, oh shit, this is happening.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm famous.
Some notoriety.
It made me feel good. I appreciate you a lot. I'm sorry I didn't catch your name. I should have asked.
6 views away from 500 boys on the first.
Yeah.
We're 6 views away from 500. I appreciate everyone that's followed, liked,
Yeah,
and
thank
subscribed.
you.
I appreciate every comment, whether it's bad or good. No matter what, you guys viewed my videos. I appreciate it. Cheers to everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And
Cheers, boys.
shout out to Cole. How you say your last name again?
Yeah.
Hauter.
Hauter.
Howder.
Shout out to Cole
Got it.
Hauter. Let's do another cheers for the picture. 1 second.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got you, Marshall. I know what you're trying to do.
Mind if we drink?
Yeah,
Bam.
don't mind the drink, guys.
That was a good
We like to
spot.
act goofy.
Yeah.
We like to get drunk and talk. Whole point of this was going to be called "Don't Mind" or "Drunk Opinions," but I had
Yeah.
to change it because "Drunk Opinions" only go so far.
Yeah.
That's more like it only had to be us 3 talking about our opinions and bringing someone else and talking about their opinions instead of "Don't mind if we drink," and then that's people that want to talk about their experiences and shit. And I appreciate you a lot, Cole. You've came on not knowing anyone.
Yeah.
You've talked a lot and you've done your shit. Like, dude, you're so fucking smart and experienced about a lot of things. And there's no way this is going to be the only episode that you're on.
Yeah, you gotta come back, man. Yeah, you gotta come back.
You're
for
definitely
sure.
going to come back, especially when
I
we
say
get
you
bigger.
come back with, like,
Just
a
wait.
bad
Here in a few
side.
episodes, it'll be like Protect Our Parks on JRE. Where
Yeah.
We're just like fucking shit talking, drinking like 14 fucking Bud Lights and whatnot.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Hey, drink as much as you
dude,
want.
I know.
We
We got
kind of ran
plenty.
out actually, but
We actually,
yeah,
well,
there's more
we got some claws. We'll be all right.
yeah, we got the subs.
And Cole,
in the
if you ever
fucking-
got-
Yeah, that'll be
got
enough.
anything rad or cool,
We also got pizza if
Yeah.
you're hungry, man.
I'll get a bite later tonight, but
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But I really want to get into everything. So like,
we'll go back to rafting, I guess. If you want
Yeah,
to start
let's
there.
do some
So,
rafting.
Yeah,
So-
no,
I really want to know your most sketchy experience.
Yeah.
Like,
no near
because
drowning
you're like
experience.
licensed, right?
yeah. I mean, you get a license every year to guide guests and whatnot, but you know, I've
Do you have to do that license yourself?
the outfit that I was working for last year and the years before that would pay for it every season, which was really nice because it's expensive. But yeah, no, I would have at least one good sketchy moment each season, or at least a couple where, I mean, they kind of dwindle down over time, I will say. My first year, I had a lot of sketchy moments because my first year and I was learning the rivers and whatnot. But even by like the first, a few laps down hills, I kind of knew a majority of the lines and whatnot down the river because there's only really one way down
And
it.
you're
in
talking
most
about like
parts.
shallow and rocky.
Shallow. I mean, not even that. Just like rapids and whatnot was the main sketchy part. Like, I mean, there was most like the real like the second. I'm good, man. I'm not into that vaping shit. To be honest,
Help yourself with that.
I've already got one in. We're good, man. I had my second year. I was full-time gear boatman, which is, yeah, big raft running down the river, throwing up camps and whatnot. That's what I did all year. Was I would just go down and I was in charge of like rowing down the rapids and just setting up camps.
You're
and,
in charge.
Yeah, like I was the guy that
Did
year.
that make you nervous?
So, no, I mean the nights at the dam right there at Hell's Canyon Creek at the freaking like the museum and whatnot with like the little theater and whatnot. Like I'd be sitting there some nights just like with a knot in my stomach just because I knew the camp we're going to the next day, and I knew the 2 rapids we had to run through, Wild Sheep and Granite, which are the 2 class 4s for the day. I would just have the biggest knot in my stomach the night before, just like nervous as hell, just like I know what's coming. And I wasn't that experienced yet to really know, like, you know, like I knew the line, but I was like, I wasn't totally confident in my ability on it yet. And so sometimes I would just go into it and like, you know, I would nail it, but I was still nervous. And then like as the years went on, more repetition, more times through it, it just got easier and easier. And then
So,
Right.
as in charge, do you run the lines?
yeah, I row the lines in the gearboat, but I'm not the overall trip leader. Like the trip leader is the guy that hangs out or the gal that hangs out with the guests and whatnot, and they're like the boat out in front. You know,
And they're
usually
with you on the
heading.
boat.
No, I'm by myself on the
Oh,
gearboat.
damn.
Like it's just me and a swamper, which is our term for because that swamper comes from like when you used to have bucket boats and you had to get in the boat and bail it out after a rapid because it didn't have like a self bailing system woven through the floor to empty out the water. So it was like, you know, I had like one person with me to help throw up camp. Like some years, like a couple years, I had multiple swampers on my boat, like 2 at a time, or sometimes even 3. And I would just be in charge of them and whatnot. And like mainly, I would just have them sit tight for the big rapids. I'd let them row in the slack water and whatnot, so I could take a break. And like I'd teach them the lines and whatnot, have them do some rapids to get them trained up to where then they can start gearboating or guiding and whatnot. But for the most part, it was me doing all the big stuff and whatnot. So
Did you ever have anybody
was-
like fall out or anything?
no,
Or you or
when I started guest guiding, I had a few moments where like I definitely like I'm trying to remember my first set of guests that I dumped out of my boat. I think
Oh,
it
fuck.
was my 4th year. I was on the Salmon. And it was like this move in like China Rapid down there that was like a long technical rapid that I like thought I could go around this rock, but I decided last second to go around the correct way instead of the new way that I was thinking of, and I just ejected these frickin' chicks out of my boat. And it was like October, so it wasn't warm. It was pretty
right.
cold, and they came up looking. They were just gasping for air.
Oh
And
no.
I stayed in the boat with the few guys that are in my boat as well. It just so happened to be like I had the dudes on my right side, these two boys. It was like, you know, 18, 19-year-old kids with this program, and we were with them for like a 7-day trip. And I had these 2 guys on the right side of my raft, and it was a paddle raft. So I was on the back of the boat with the oars, and they had paddles and whatnot. And yeah, they got ejected. And I just reached in the water, threw them back in the boat and whatnot. But down there, I don't like to have any like moments like that. Like nobody really does. It's Hell's Canyon. It's like the Hells or the Salmon. I don't like to have any sort of like, you know, like moments like that. It's just not what I want to deal with. I'd rather deal with like drunk guests in the camp, honestly, than having, you know, a raft incident or a dump truck or, you know,
What do you mean by dump truck?
you can just dump them out of your boat. It's just kind of the slang term for it for the most part. So yeah, it happens though. Like, and knock on wood, I haven't flipped yet. I'm sure this will be the year when I finally flip a boat.
Knock
Because
on
I
wood,
said it right
fuck,
now, and there's
man.
nothing around me I can do it on.
Right there.
But there's really only 2 kinds of guides out there. There's guides that have flipped and guides that have not flipped.
Yeah.
So I'm still in that category of not flipped yet, but it's coming eventually.
Would you say it's something that makes you stronger though if you flip? Like,
Oh, obviously, it'll
Right.
teach you better. You know, I mean,
Composure.
it's just like you gotta just be like you gotta know the river and some like the amount of experience I've been able to amass over the years and like the amount of moments that I've been able to get myself into that have been super sketchy and then pull it off have been like I've learned so much just with how boats handle and whatnot, and like sometimes I've had to like literally like body check myself into the side of a tube to keep a raft from going over. And like last year, those same 2 kids that I was actually in the boat with when we caught that sturgeon, we were in a rapid called Rush Creek down there in Hell's Canyon, and there was a hole down there. Really, like last year, you know, as you know, was a pretty good drought year. So Rush Creek at low flows gets really sketchy. At the bottom of this run we do, there's 2 holes you gotta you know, smash through. And this one that I hit, not quite teed up to, I freaking went sideways in and lost the kid out of the front.
Oh,
And the kid in the back was I lost the kid in the back of the boat. Miguel, you know, and Pax was in the front of the boat, and Miguel flipped right out. Pax was literally hanging on to the dry box with his head underwater off this edge of the boat and getting just washed. And yeah, I yanked Miguel on the boat and pulled Pax into again. And I mean, if we would have flipped, like I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have my gear scene quite that dialed. I had some shit unstrapped. Like I had a dry box and a cooler unstrapped, and if we would have flipped, we would have lost all that shit in those boxes, and I would have got my ass chewed as soon as we got to camp that night because we had dinner items in there and whatnot, and breakfast shit. So it was one of those moments where I was like, oh, thank God that we didn't flip right there. But yeah,
Did you realize that as your people are going out?
Yeah, I realized after the fact, like, oh, well, we got lucky right there. Pretty much is how it worked out. I was like, oh, that was close. That was really close. But you have those moments. I mean, it's just a matter of awareness down there is the biggest thing. Like you got to have a heightened sense when you're on the oars in certain areas of the river, like where you're at and where you got to be, and the line going through certain rapids is so key.
So how long is this line for?
Oh, some rapids depend. Some are short, some are long, where you got to make moves around rocks and whatnot. And there's holes and walls you got to dodge from getting pushed up on or going through that could hose you.
Well, can't you get like kind of like stuck in a rapid?
Oh
Just, like...
yeah, you can full on get freaking recirculated if your boat's light
What's
enough.
recirculated mean?
You just get stuck in this hole and just get pushed back into the wave that's peeling over and whatnot. And it's Maytag is what they call it.
Maytag.
You just get Maytagged over and over again.
Oh shit.
So we had all these high school kids, and we were all just like fucking about fishing like you wouldn't believe. And we were at Salt Creek, our second night camp, and the fucking sturgeon rod went off like in the evening, and I was not expecting it to, and it just starts fucking spooling line, and I'm like running out to the boats. And I grabbed this rod, undo the cam strap and the oar tower that it's strapped to, and start fighting this motherfucker. And it spat the hook, and I just went flying back. And I was in the footwell of the gearboat, and I went flying back and just smashed my back into the oar tower and on the deck. And had I not been like as lit as I would have gotten hurt because I was able to like move and be malleable and everything like that because I was loose and whatnot. But
all right, let's stop at this point real quick. Sorry, viewers, we had to change batteries real quick, and obviously, we're not going to catch back on the same fucking subject.
Right.
It was like a good 10-minute pause. So we're going to start a new one. We have a very interesting guest, Cole. Like the most interesting guest I probably will ever have on this. Dude, he's so fucking unreal. Like this guy's done so much. And I appreciate him being here. But
appreciate having me here.
Yeah, thanks.
Dude, man. It's unreal. Like we're going to have to go riding. Like, there's no fucking doubt.
No, we will. I know we will. As soon as I walked in and saw your bike, I was like, yeah, I'm going to take this guy riding at some point.
Yeah, you just can't go too far ahead of me.
I'll just wait.
You might leave him dust a little bit.
Don't just wait. Just like, all right, this guy will catch up with it. Because I'm very easy. I don't like crashing.
Just look ahead and keep your ankles against the frame. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. I was fucking raised with racers and shit. Kinda. Not really. I was raised dirt biking for sure. Like my first bike I ever rode that was motorized, and was the first bike first thing I rode without training wheels was a Honda scooter. And my dad, like financially wise, my parents weren't fucking there, so I got pretty cheap shit. I had to ride like really cheap shit, and then on my first bike, I think I was 12. I got a CR82 stroke. And that shit ripped. Like, it was, dude, Logan Scott, you know who that is?
Just saw him the other day.
I've read that name before, I think.
He had a 150, and I fucking ripped past him. Like a racing 150. Like, he had to put airplane fuel just to make his run because it was so fucked up. Like, when you put so much unleaded fuel in your fucking bike that it only runs on unleaded fuel.
High compression piston, probably.
Probably. You know way more about that than I do. But yeah, I rip past them every time on my two-stroke. That's what made me buy this two-stroke. But yeah, we're going to have to ride sometime. That'd be dope. You show me some trails. I won't be able to show you anything, but hey.
I'll show you some trails.
Well, shit, I seen you ride with fucking Ryan Phillips. Like, you go riding dirt bikes with him a little bit. He's pretty gnarly, isn't he?
Oh, he's awesome. He's so much fun to ride with out there. He knows that place just as well as I do. But he's able to just turn the fear off and just hit these jumps. And I'm like, no, let's not do that. I've been down that avenue before and whatnot. And
so we talked about like a lot about your Baja and stuff. How are you with jumps? Because that's not really jumps and
It's
Baja.
not really my thing anymore. No, I mean, I'll do some that are fun, but like just big air is not really my adrenaline fix. I think it's just because it's just something I just haven't quite conquered again yet. Just because I've had some good wrecks from that before that have really messed me up, and so I'm just kind of like still working on getting over that fear of jumping and everything. Like just that leaving the ground and just that surge you get of adrenaline and whatnot when you go up in the air.
See, growing up for me, that was like my thing. I love jumps. And
Right.
Logan Scott, I'll bring him up again. He was a great rider back in the day. He had a 150 and I had the 80. His dad was friends with some dude with land, and we built a track on him. It had like 2 tabletops, whoops, and then like a kicker. And dude, I loved jumping back then on my 80. It was an 80
Big wheel.
big wheel. So like
That's what I had too.
you could literally just jump as high as you wanted and land flat if you really wanted to. And it was a 2-stroke, so like it had the power to do it. But yeah, I loved it. And I remember fucking jumping because it took me a long time before I could afford my own bike. Because after that bike, my dad kind of just, he got hurt on that bike. Because he was like, okay, watch this. And then fucked him tailbone up.
Just weeds himself.
Yeah, he hit that little kicker. Doom. And then landed like this. And then he hit his ass end and it fucked him up. He never rode again, I think. I'm pretty sure he never did, actually.
Oh fuck.
But that was the last time I had a bike that he bought. That was the first and last time he ever bought me a bike. So I had to buy my own bike, which is that KX 450F Kawasaki. And I rode the shit out of that fucking thing, but it was a builder bike. Like every time you rode it, you had to build, like you had to fix something.
Right.
And I remember one time I'm at Virtue Flats and I look down and my fucking kickstart's gone.
Oh, fuck. What
And
the
I'm
fuck?
like, shit. Like, what the fuck? So I haul up to the hill that I'm on, went down, obviously push started it, and just rode every trail I rode and looking for it. And I went back to my car going, fuck, man, I rode every trail. What the fuck? But I remember I went up and down the Virtue track, like, road. So I was like, okay, one more time. I'm going to push this. If it doesn't work, I'm just going to load. Because I love dirt biking. Like, I don't care how much work's put into it. I will always try. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I push it down this hill one more time thinking, okay, if I go down this road, the dirt road that you get to going to Virtue Flats, because I warm up my bike on that road. Because it's an old bike, so I'm like, fuck it. Before I rally time it, I'm gonna, because I didn't give a shit. I was like, I literally drank 2 beers before I went riding. Like, I was just, you know, I just did it for fun. And I was by myself because no one could keep up. And I'm not gonna say I'm experienced at all, but the people I was riding with at the time weren't. So, like, I had to, like, it's not that I go by myself, I waited for people. And the people I was waiting for weren't worth it. Not gonna say names. And they were definitely not fucking dirt bike riders. They were just people buying dirt bikes at the time. So I was like, fuck it. So I went back up that road. I'm at, like, I passed the cattle guard. I'm literally, like, to the highway. And I look to my left. And I see my kicker. I'm like, fuck yeah. My bike doesn't even kickstart. After it gets fucking warm, dude, it takes 30 kicks to start this fucking thing. I don't know what's wrong with it.
It's just a pig.
Yeah, dude. It's just a worker. Like, I bought it cheap just for my enjoyment. And then, yeah, I found that kicker. I put it between my front number plate and the handlebars. And it stood there the whole time no matter what. Like, I don't know how it didn't rattle out. And I did some pretty fucking, I was going pretty hard on the whoops. Like, probably not anything as close as him, but for me, I was like, oh, shit. Like, to the point where I'm like, okay, I think this might fling out, but never did. And I did that for like a couple months, and then I was like, I need a new bike. I did some research. I wanted a 2-stroke. just for the shits and giggles. And the highest, other than a 500, is usually a 300. Like, you don't find a 452 stroke. You don't find a 400. Like, maybe a 400. Maybe.
If it's modified.
Yeah,
But then it's used.
Stock, yeah, you're going to get in like a 300 or a 500. Like, I don't even know if you can buy 500s nowadays.
You
I'm
can't.
sure.
No, it's like they make them 4 strokes now, but like 502 strokes are gone now. It's like you can find like a used Craigslist one now for whatever, but that's like, yeah.
They're trying to
it's
phase out all the 2-strokes,
Yeah.
honestly.
They've been trying to phase them out for decades now, and it's just not fucking happening because
No,
they're just
because
such,
love them.
because people love them too much.
You can't compare.
But yeah,
I mean,
I really wanted a 2-stroke, so I was like, fuck it. Did my research. I really wanted a Honda, but at the same time, I wanted something new that no one else had. And I found a Beta 300 2-stroke, and I was like, fuck. And then I found a 300 Beta 2-stroke RR, which is like the racing model. And I'm like, bet, motherfuckers. 10 grand. So I was like, I'll save up. I was working at Paisanos. I was making tips like a motherfucker. And I was making $17 an hour. I didn't drink. I didn't smoke weed. I stayed up for 4 months straight. Didn't do anything fun. And then eventually I bought it. And I was like, fuck yeah.
You did better than when I worked there.
I put 200 miles in it in the first 2 weeks.
You worked at Paisanos?
I worked at Paisanos when I first moved to Baker. That was my first
Oh,
job
no.
over here. Yeah. And,
Who owned it?
it was Whitey. Same
So-
owners.
And his...
Liz.
Really?
Yeah, no, they owned it. Like 2016, like March is when I started working there at the end of March.
So I got a job there. So I worked there before. And I worked there for like 3 months. And I put in my work. And then I was like, hey, look, I got a great job in Bend remodeling cabins. Because a bunch of... I was at Cove Lake. It's like between Bend and Eugene. It was Cove Lake, and a bunch of trees fell over on these fucking cabins. And they needed work done. So we went and started working for them. Came back. Begged for my job back. And they're like, oh, Joey doesn't really like you right now because you kind of... like, because I really did just leave. I was just like, okay, I have a new job. I'm just going to do this real quick. I have it with my best buddies, Colton Dawson. And I just left kind of like... they had like a week noticed. And I came back and I was like, hey, I really need a job. And they're like, okay, whatever. Worked for 2 weeks. And they're like, okay, we need to give you a raise. Because I worked that whole 2 weeks straight. Like no days off. And they realized my value. So they gave me a big ass raise. And I worked I got 3 days off within 4 months. Like, I was nonstop, just grinding. Like, didn't drink, didn't smoke weed. And then I got enough money for my dirt bike. I ended up getting fired for some
petty ass shit.
petty ass shit. And then, yeah, I went on with my life and went and bought this dirt bike and found a new job. But it was 100%
And started a
worth it,
podcast.
dude. Yeah, started a podcast. And the only reason I started a podcast is because every time I would go visit my buddy, Zach, we'd sit up until 5 o'clock. Dude, it's not like that no more for some reason. I don't know. It's probably because he's thinking that in the back of his head, and me too. It's like, we need to save our conversations.
Right.
But it was literally, we'd stay up until 5 o'clock in the morning getting drunk. And then one day I woke up and I was like, fuck, man. I'm like,
I don't got that.
I just looked at him like, I'm like, you think people will listen to this? He's like, I would listen to it. I'm like, you want to make a podcast? He goes, yeah. And then shit went south, kinda, and had to make it here. Like, I was gonna make it at his house in Boise, but because I didn't have enough room here. And then one day he's like, we can't do it here. And I just looked around my house. This was my kids' play area. I was like, okay, I have to sacrifice that to make this. And I thought about it for a couple hours. I just looked at my girlfriend. I was like, let's go to Walmart. And I bought these couches, everything you see. And then other than like the mics, the cameras, and everything that's deeply involved in it,
Yeah.
I bought all the fucking outer rim. And it worked out very well. And now we're here.
Yeah, it's been
We
coming
have-
on fucking.
We have
smoothly.
almost 500 views. And now we have a very fucking... I want to call you famous because in Baker City you are.
Yeah, small town, I guess.
Locally
Like-
famous, man.
Locally.
You are, but at the same time, you aren't. And we're going to help each other.
Yeah, definitely.
Cheers on that.
Cheers. Absolutely.
I got one more drink out of this fucker, so.
I don't even know if I got one left.
I appreciate you coming here. And I think we're on rafting before we stop the podcast for a second. But if you got anything interesting to come up with, what would it be?
Oh, I got tons of shit. Like that first rafting trip, the same trip when the dude spent all that money on the fucking weed for that trip.
Let's fucking hear it, man.
First night's camp, we're hanging out, and I'm like looking off downstream
You smoke weed
at
at
the
all?
sky. Oh, all the time. So I look up in the sky and whatnot. And I'm like looking at this weird ass like it's just an anomaly in the sky. I'm like watching this like there's something happening that I'm like this isn't normal. Like it was this freaking the sky was like, you know, moonless stars for that night, and downstream it was like there was this white band across the sky going from the Idaho side to the Oregon side from east to west. And I remember looking up and I'm like watching this, and there's this ripple that would ripple through like up, down, up, down, up, down, down, like from east to west, just, you know, zigzagging. And I'm like, oh my God, that's the fucking Northern Lights.
No way.
Sure shit, it was. I tapped the owner's
Where you
shoulder.
at?
We were on Hell's Canyon on our first night for that bachelor trip, and I'm looking up in the sky and I'm looking at the Northern Lights, and I tapped my boss's shoulder. I'm like, hey, Paul, do you see this? And he starts looking up in the sky and he's like, oh my God, yeah, I see that. I'm like, dude, that's the fucking Northern Lights. And he's like, yeah, it is Northern Lights.
Oh shit.
No fucking
And so
way.
I go around and I start fucking literally kicking my fucking coworkers away because it's 11:30
wake
at
up.
night. I'm like, you guys can't fucking miss this shit. And yeah, sure enough, the Aurora Borealis
Oh,
had a solar
wow.
storm that night that came down that low in the freaking hemispheres to where we could, or like, you know, the atmosphere where hemispheres. Where we could see like the Northern Lights like in the white phase that far down, even in Hell's Canyon. That was wild. I was just
What
like,
time of the year was this?
this was May, I want to say, towards the end of the month, obviously, but
Right.
it was like we were looking up and watching this for a while now, and
How long did you go on for?
it went on for quite a while. Like, we watched it all night long until we all went to bed. Like, I watched
Damn.
it to where I was like, wow, this is, like, I kept looking up
trip.
at it just like, wow, this is so crazy. I can't believe we just witnessed this, and it's still going on.
That's dope.
Next day, wake up, and we're like, wow, we really just fucking saw that? Like, it was wild to see the fucking Northern Lights.
Well,
That-
yeah, you don't see them very often
No,
down here.
you
in the
never
lower
fucking
48.
see 'em down here.
I don't think I've ever heard another
There's
story. of
rare
people-
occasions, like, I mean, once in a fucking blue moon when we have, like,
Mm-hmm.
a huge fucking solar storm, but other than that, I mean, it's
Pretty
fucking
smooth.
Is rare.
You
It
want
is.
anything to drink with it?
No, I'll chase it with the fucking buckskin if I have to. Cheers.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
that buckskin will wash it down. You'll be alright.
I was gonna say I got a Red Bull over here. If you need
Yeah, I got one too here too if you need it.
I'm a bitch. I need a chaser every single fucking time.
I just do pickle juice.
Well, fuck that JMO last time. That went down like fucking butter, man.
I still do pickle juice.
Right.
The stuff that goes down easier for me is always Pendleton whiskey. That's stuff I have this fucking relationship that I just can't explain.
Next time you're on, bro, I'll have it.
Pendleton whiskey. Could you please sponsor Cole? no.
19 Pendleton whiskey, 1910 or Midnight. That
1910 is like the off-brand
fucking-
one.
No, it's just a flavor they make that's just, I don't know what the flavor is. It's just better.
What's the one that's like off-brand? It's like a Sinfari. I don't know what it's called, but it's like an off-brand fucking Pendleton. bro.
Really?
It's like the Jameson with McGregor.
Oh, fuck! I can't even remember.
I know what you're
the hell-
talking about.
Sinfire something. Type that in.
It's supposed to be a mock fucking Pendleton.
I think it is.
It is.
Yeah.
Nobody could compete with Pendleton. I'm sorry.
No.
No, you really
It's just
can't.
like this one I'm drinking.
They've got it nailed.
Snake River Stampede, bro. Oh my.
Anything here in
God.
Oregon when it
What?
comes to whiskey, it just
Cinnamon
fucking
is
kills
a-
it.
Yeah, like the only one that I've been able to find that can compete with Pendleton for me is like Bullet, and that's about it.
Snake River Stampede is my favorite whiskey.
That stuff's so
Snake
good.
pea.
This one shit. Oh, I love it. That's what you just drank. I love it. That's my favorite whiskey.
Yeah, that same night we hooked a fucking sturgeon, and it was the biggest motherfucker.
At the night?
Then, well, like that evening when it was still daylight, had that same camp before we saw the Northern Lights.
Dude, I love it. You
First
go right
night.
back to the same story.
Right, he's got a
I
good
dig it.
memory.
Dude, that same trip we had so much shit go down. So like that same evening, we're sitting there, and it's like my first time ever sturgeon fishing actually on the river like that, and yeah. Fucking rod goes off. My buddy Lars Scovlin goes down there and fucking sets the hook on this thing, and it fucking pops its head out of the river. And I already got one in, man. Thank you though. Shout out to Zen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the Rogues a lot better just because you get a bit of more of a buzz from them. But
I haven't tried 'em.
The fucking man, this thing pops its head out of the water, and this thing's head is like from the nose. It just pops its head to its like freaking pectoral fins. And I'm not shitting you. When this thing pops its head out of the water, it's just as tall as that fucking nightstand right there. Just
Jesus.
this massive
Damn.
fucking head. It's and
For the viewers, that's like 3 feet tall.
yeah, it's
Right.
it's
Fucking that's big.
it's this one fish that I've hooked. I hooked it a number of times. Like the next year, I hooked it a few times. And when I say hooked, we hooked it.
Yeah, that's it.
We didn't fucking land this thing. This thing knows how to get away. Like those older fish down there that have been there for like when the dam was fucking incepted at Hell's Canyon Dam. They've been there ever since. Plus some.
They know the tricks.
They know the tricks, and they get hooked, and they just are like, okay, guess what? I'm gonna fight for a little bit, and then I'm gonna go downstream, and there's nothing you can fucking do to stop me from going down this river, because I'm gonna turn my body sideways, and I'm 10 feet long,
Right.
500 pounds. Doesn't matter if you have 80-pound test, 150-pound test braided on a fucking brand new setup. You're not getting me unless you're in a boat. And so we were anchored at camp, not going anywhere. And yeah, this thing just takes off downstream, stripping line, and we set the drag tight to break it off. It breaks off, and yeah, from that moment then, I was just hooked on it. I was like, that was my job after that, was like, all right, guess what? You get to fucking get paid to fucking fight sturgeon every trip.
Oh,
At least try. So,
Right.
yeah.
Hey, Marshall, have we looked up the biggest sturgeon caught in Hell's Canyon?
Oh, God, you're going to find a ridiculous
I thought
stat.
we were looking up to 111
Well, fuck, I
fishes.
heard something
Let's,
like
let's
they
look up the biggest sturgeon in Hell's Canyon.
they
real
caught
quick.
one that was like the size
the
of a fucking
laptop.
the length of a small bus
I
or some
locked it.
shit.
Yeah,
like that.
there's pictures of
You
one
don't
that
like
they...
doing that?
What?
You don't like tapping?
No, I locked it and it wants a password now.
Yeah, like
What
they
the
pull it
fuck?
up next to the fucking jet boats, and the fucking thing is like as
All right.
long or longer than the fucking jet
Capital
boat.
J?
Like,
Yeah, they got... There's an old picture of this one
Oh.
down there in Ontario that they yanked out that was like
09.
1,300 pounds.
oh my god!
And like 18 feet long, and the picture of the farmer
1995.
standing next to it is just insane. Like, it's just such
Unreal.
a big fucking fish.
It's
And
a dinosaur.
It is
bro.
a dinosaur. I mean, they
it
were
is.
Yeah.
they were evolution. The white sturgeon were evolutionary. I hope I'm correct on this, but I believe they were unchanged when T-Rex was still fucking stomping around.
Oh
in
damn.
that same, yeah,
So they've just been the champs for fucking ever.
yeah. They've been like they haven't had to switch up anything.
They don't even have any teeth, really, do they?
They
They're just
have
more
no-
like a sucker. Like,
Yeah, they have no teeth on them. It's just a freaking like little suction mouth that comes out to extract the dead salmon that they were evolved to eat.
Right.
And then they got a second mouth back up in their
oh, what the
tract
hell?
that sucks everything up. But yeah, no, that's that whole niche that they got, like I said before earlier, it's just so perfect for what they do down there.
Right.
I mean, obviously now, since we don't have any fucking, we don't hardly have any fucking Andromedus fish runs, which Andromedus is for like, steelhead salmon that go up every year and lay eggs and
Right.
spawn and whatnot. It's all just like, it's sparse from what it used to be.
So you're
Like,
doing any, like bass fishing at all?
oh yeah, every day. Like that's usually what we catch. Is the
Every
majority.
day.
Majority is all bass.
Right.
Like we're jigging bass. Like last year, because we didn't have any high water, the trout were able to flourish a lot more. But they're all just these test tube manufactured fucking fish that are grown in a lab down in Hagerman,
Hatchery.
Idaho, and whatnot. So it's like they're super, like they're not natural.
They don't act normal.
What's the biggest bass or smallmouth bass?
I've caught a few that have been over 16 inches before, and guests have caught a bunch that have been over 16 inches and whatnot. It's
What
just
about weight?
maybe a pound or two. What? Like, yeah, like they're not.
My
Maybe
biggest smallmouth I ever caught, which I wish I had on my own phone, was 5.5.
where was that at?
So if you're going towards Brownlee,
Oh yeah, there's some fucking pigs in there.
not in Brownlee. So if you're going towards Brownlee, there's Travis Radel.
Do not.
So Travis Radel lives on a ranch, and right before you take the left to his house, there's a bridge.
Is this on North Powder River Road heading down towards
Keating.
Richland and whatnot? Keating?
Yeah.
Oh. Are you fishing smallmouth or largemouth?
Small.
Okay. No shit.
I'm not actually fishing for anything.
Right.
I'm just
you
fishing.
You're just fishing for whatever the fuck bites the hook.
Yeah.
At that point.
Something bought it. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh shit. I'm just
Yeah.
reeling in.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like a fucking smallmouth bass. And I weighed it. It was like 5.5.
Oh shit. That's a fucking pig.
And it was, I don't know how long it was because we didn't have a ruler or anything with us. But I
that's
had
a
a
good
weight.
fish.
And then, so the two biggest fish I ever caught, how big is it?
It is 119 inches, half an inch under 10 feet.
Oh fuck.
That's
In the Hell's Canyon?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
That's
are
a monster.
Yeah, when you get a fish like that, it's a fucking legend is what it is. It's like, just
Yeah, you guys should be able to see that somewhat.
You
on
can
the-
tap. So if you tap that thing right there.
It's coming in.
All right.
Cool.
it's coming.
Make
in just
sure
fine.
it focuses on us afterwards, though.
Yeah, sure.
we're good.
You are back.
All right.
Yeah, those
But
are monsters.
yeah, and then the biggest trout I ever caught was basically the same thing. It was a 5.5, and we did have a measurement. It was like 3.5 feet, or no,
Wow.
sorry, maybe 3,
Calamari
2.5,
comes
2
from
and
sturgeon,
2 and
right?
3/4.
What?
What's that?
Calamari comes
No.
from sturgeon.
No, calamari is squid.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
calamari is
I'm
good.
sorry, no, that's my dyslexic brain. The eggs.
Oh.
Caviar.
Caviar.
Yeah, caviar.
Yeah, no, I know what
so
you're trying to get at.
It's albino sturgeon.
Russian albino, like.
I don't know about Russian, but albino sturgeon comes up with almost the best caviar.
I think it's
Yeah.
from what I've heard, Russia does produce a lot of like sturgeon. I don't know, just
Maybe.
sturgeon in general for some reason.
Fuck, you should look
I'm
at the
not
ones
sure.
that they catch in British Columbia. Like, they catch
Oh, fuck,
monsters
I
down
can't
there that are
imagine.
over 12 feet long
What's
on
the
the
biggest?
average.
Is that the biggest fish you ever caught?
No, my biggest is so far has been 9'2", I think, is my record so far.
Size sturgeon.
Yeah, I've hooked definitely bigger, but haven't landed bigger yet. The way to do it is, like I said earlier, like, you got to be in a boat in the daytime fishing for them. That way you can be right over the top of them and
Right.
just get them up.
You have your own boat.
Oh no, I don't yet. I have like
We're gonna have to go out.
Yeah.
You got a raft?
I got a boat.
You got a boat?
Yeah.
Perfect.
You do?
Yeah,
I didn't know
it's
that.
out there.
Yeah,
I didn't
it's
know
right
that.
there on the other side of all this stuff over there.
Fuck
Oh,
yeah.
well, I didn't know it was yours. I mean,
I'll
I
find
used to have 4 boats actually.
oh no. Oh damn. Well, shit. Let's get something set
Got
up,
rid of
boys.
3 of them.
We got our
that.
guide right here.
Dude, I will gladly fucking stick you guys down the snake and
Right.
fish you guys,
Bro, that's always
fish
Get
your
us
asses
fucking-
off.
Get us scared too. I mean, come
No.
on, man.
Nice.
No,
yeah.
I'll
My
keep
boat's
you guys
not ready
safe.
for rafts.
yeah.
I camped in Oxbow a lot, so I've always loved the Hell's Canyon, but I've never been out in the river.
I only have a 15 foot.
Right.
I used to have a
Oh, man.
17 and a half, but what is it called? That place across the street from Subway that works on
Oh,
cars.
CarQuest?
Oh
Car
yeah.
Quest fucked me over.
What?
Yeah, dude, I had work on my boat motor and they blew it up.
What the fuck?
Yeah, they're like the only thing you need is a carburetor tune and a new propeller for the water
Yeah.
propeller. And then they put them in and it blew my boat up. Or blew my motor up. And I was like, hey, so what's going on? And they're like, oh, we'll put a brand new 75 horse. And I had a 100 horse. We'll put a brand new 75 horse Marina or whatever it's called motor in. And I was like, okay. Took like 2 months and I went back in there and they're like, yeah, you owe me $300 for nothing. Like, we're not going to put a new motor in.
What
And I
the
was like,
hell?
okay, you guys can fuck yourselves. I'm turning you in. So I turned them in and then they shut down.
Yeah, now they just have the parts store over on fucking Broadway. Or 10th. across the
Sure.
gas
I don't know
station.
what the fuck it is, but
No,
I
it's just a parts store. They don't work.
fuck them, bro. They're-
Whatever happened to Polaris Motorsports? What the hell's going on there? Are they like, are they even the
Where was
same
that?
people? The one that's over here by the guys, or not by the guys, or by the
The Yamaha shop?
Jackson?
Oh,
Yeah.
Oregon Trail?
yeah Oregon Trail Motorsports. Did they sell or are they
The
same? people,
Yamaha
or-
shop?
I don't
Yeah.
know what the fuck they're doing anymore.
Dude, they're expensive as fuck.
Any bike shopping anymore besides TCMX just fucking blows.
I like the I used to work at the
No,
Honda
it's-
shop too, and they're pretty cheap, but other than like they only work on Hondas.
They-
Right.
Yeah.
What place are you talking about?
Oh, TCMX here in Baker City.
Shout 'em out.
It's like
Yeah, shut them out.
It's just a dirt bike shop. It's like you bring your bike in. It's just they do things differently. Things are out in a few weeks instead of 4 months like usual. So it's like even less than that sometimes depending on the job. But yeah,
You said it's
they've
TCMX?
had- yeah,
They're
they've had.
Ragsdale's old glass company place.
No, yeah, I've seen them a couple times.
Yeah.
Oh, so they're off Main then. Like,
Yeah, they're right there on the main strip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're right across street from the mail department.
No, not. I mean, yeah,
Mail or the
but
post
technically they're
office.
across the street from the.
Forest Service and all the freaking funeral homes
funeral
right
home,
there.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I kept wanting to say death home.
Yeah, well, go check him out. Have him have work on your shit, man.
That's who built his bike. For,
Yeah.
Like.
Oh yeah, he definitely. Yeah, him and I went over a lot of stuff on my bike, but he definitely helped me put all my parts on my bike for when I went down to Baja to pre-run and whatnot. And like like he hit me up like January 2021. Was like, hey, you want like because Tom used to be a factory mechanic back in the day for
Oh, wow.
a bunch of Kawasaki teams up in Canada and whatnot, and Suzuki here in the States and KTM and whatnot. So he's very well rounded with like how bikes need to work and whatnot. And so God, just the knowledge that he's like passed it down to me and whatnot about suspension work and whatnot has just been impeccable. And so like when I would go that year, like last year, I was making a run at the fucking Open A title in Sidra, and yeah, he got my bike working so freaking good that year to where it was just like ran good all the time, and didn't have any sort of any issues with it at all, and it just was like, yeah, it was a good year for us and whatnot, and just for him in general, just to get back, because he moved back down to Baker City where he's from, and got back into the whole, because he's actually from Baker, and just to get him back into it was just an achievement in itself. Like I didn't end up winning what I was setting out to do that year, but getting him and his shop up and going and whatnot was just like an achievement in itself. So
Yeah, that shop kind of opened up out of nowhere.
it did, yeah, and it was like I remember I only worked there part time, but like every time I'm there, it's like it's always the same few people stop in, like wondering the same two questions, like, hey, or like, it's not even a question, like they'll have a question and they'll have like a thank you, like, hey, thank you for doing this because we needed this so badly around Baker County, a motorcycle shop that's just like strictly focused on dirt bikes, and that's what he brings to the table around here. And so yeah, he doesn't sell bikes, obviously. He just works on them, but just
Oh, he doesn't sell bikes at all?
No, I mean, like somebody will occasionally, you'll get somebody that'll like want to sell a bike, and they'll show up and be like, yeah, I want to sell this thing, and he'll put it for sale, and it's usually gone within like days, usually, because like around here it's just people are so hungry for a motorcycle and whatnot. So but he just got such a good knowledge on tearing a bike down to the frame, building it back up again, carburetor, how it should run, suspension, how it should work for around here locally, with off-road and everything. And but that guy, man, tell you what, if you want to ride moto, that guy can make a bike ride motocross like you wouldn't believe. It's just like the knowledge that he has for valving and everything and balance on a bike is just impeccable.
Moto whisper.
Yeah, he is. Well, that's what he for decades, that's what he, did. And so it's like, like with top level fucking pros too. So it's like, you can tune a bike to do whatever for any level. So, yeah.
So I was looking on your Instagram here a little bit. You go riding today?
Oh, yeah, of course I did.
You're like, that's every day, bro.
It is. I mean, it's like, we got a riding area. We got woods 6 miles one way, and we got desert 6 miles the other way. So
Right.
It's like, what do you want to do around here? You can go ride. I mean, with all the snow we've had this week, we've been able just to, last few weeks we've been up in the woods cutting everything out, and now with all the snow we're like, all right, let's go back up to the desert again. And it's been a blast just because if anybody knows how wet conditions are out in the desert, when that stuff shows up, you're just like so into it just because it turns the dirt into just pure fucking Velcro. It's just
Right.
like you're strapped to the dirt and whatnot. Endless traction. Like today I went out there and was like, it was a little muddy when we went out there, but as the day wore on, it just got better and better and better and whatnot. So yeah, no, I went out today, and I don't know, it's like usually most days I'll get like north of 50 miles average, and like some days when I'm out there training, it's like I'll get no fewer than like 80 or 100 some days. If I'm like out there by myself, especially, like I'll get over 100 usually on average days. Yeah, it is a lot. There's been some days where I've gone in and like I've gone out there and like gotten 100 miles in and came back to Barley's when I used to work there part-time, and I would just fucking hustle dishes in the evenings afterwards and whatnot.
Sounds like you work part-time everywhere.
I do. It's like nobody wants to fucking work anymore around here, so it's like, you know, when you get a job, it's like you take it and it's like you can make all this money and whatnot.
Get off your lazy ass fuckers, quit letting Cole take all these damn jobs.
Yeah,
Baker's got plenty.
There is fucking plenty to do around here.
Right, yeah, for real. No shit.
There is.
What's your favorite job you ever had?
Oh God, what do you fucking think that favorite job of mine's ever gonna be? It's gonna be fucking being a paid fucking functional alcoholic every summertime on the river.
Yeah, river guide.
Man, are you kidding me? It's like
Make this shit famous, people.
Cheers, motherfuckers.
that's the thing about guiding, man. That's one of the unsaid things about river guiding is you're a paid functional alcoholic every year. If you're like, it's one thing to come into a season like saying I'm not gonna drink, but man, a week or two into it, when the guides and the guests are all having a good time and you're sitting over there sober and pissed off, it's like, you know what, you need to fucking take the edge off with that fucking White Claw or that Coors Light and just enjoy the fucking scene on the river time and whatnot and just be in it. It's like, it's just something that you just can't replicate.
But you said you smoked weed.
Oh, of course. You gotta be a paid, functional, cross-faded alcoholic, I guess.
Cross-faded alcoholic.
Yeah, that's literally what it is out there.
Oh my god.
You enjoy smoking weed?
What's that?
You enjoy smoking weed?
Oh yeah.
Are you a lifelong weed smoker? Like since you
Oh,
were younger, or like
I don't know.
Started, or?
Yeah, I started. I got into it pretty late. I mean, I was like maybe 17 when I got into it, so I was
Me
really
too.
late into it. Like it didn't happen. Like, you know, I know people that have been into it for like since they were like 12 or whatever.
Right.
But it's like
Yeah,
that was not me. I mean, I even caught like usually it's like your dad catches you.
Right.
He caught me, or no, I caught him.
Oh no! Oh fuck! Oh, we
I'm
need to
working.
hear about this.
I'm working on my truck one day, and he comes out to me, and he just smells like he got sprayed by a skunk. And I was like, "Dad, is that what the fuck I think I smell?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe it. I was like changing out some solenoid bullshit on my Nissan pickup that I had at the time, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. It was the funniest thing ever after that. And like, you know,
ironic.
And you know, yeah. Yeah. I know. I just have loved like throwing that at him for the years. I was like, you know what? Most dads catch their kids smoking pot. No, I caught you.
No, yeah, I was the same way actually. So like, the longest time I was against smoking weed.
I was too.
And I didn't like it. I was like, okay, people who smoke weed are criminals type of thing.
Yeah, you got conditioned from school and shit. So it's like you viewed it differently back then.
But like, my dad started smoking weed when I was probably like 16, 17. And I fucking sniffed him out with my mom. I was like, dude, it smells like weed down here. Like, what the fuck's going on? And then eventually I started smoking and I just walked into his little plaza. He was like reloading bullets and like doing his own thing. So I like walked in there and I'm like, you smoking weed? He goes, yeah, you want some? I'm like, fuck. All right, let's do this. And I was actually kind of smoking weed at the time, so I kind of was like, I knew what it was about. So I was like, okay, fuck it, let's smoke some weed. And then that's where we became our like, that was like our agreement. Like, we smoked weed together. That was like why we were like good friends. I didn't have like a great relationship with my dad throughout my life, but when we started smoking weed together, it was like one of those things that we could agree on. Like,
yeah,
I taught him how to make edibles. I taught him how to make dabs.
Oh Jesus!
I taught him how to
those fucking lethal things.
Yeah, like I taught him how to make all this shit, and then when in doubt, like he's still a great dad, but he's not really into my life anymore. But off that subject, he's still a great dad. I appreciate you. I know you watch my podcast. I love you. Don't get that wrong. I know you're going through some struggles and you're going through some anger. I love you, man. But yeah, that's kind of where we built our fucking relationship on for the longest time was weed, because that's his biggest part. He was disabled. He's got all this shit. But yeah, I
think
understand
it's-
where you come from with that. Like smoking with your dad's. I'm not sure if you actually smoke with your dad, but
All
catching
the
your
fucking
dad.
time.
Yeah, if you catch your dad smoking weed and he smokes it with you, it's like a real big thing. You're
Yeah.
like,
See,
oh,
that's what
shit.
I'm waiting for with my dad, because my dad's like old school lager. He's like
You
fucking,
still haven't smoked
Yeah.
weed yet?
no, dude, he's like 4th generation lager. Like alcohol and chew is the only sort of stimulants
smoke
he
weed?
touches. Like, no, I mean, I'm sure he probably has in like high school or anything, but like
Right.
me going through school, if he knew like any of the times he ever found out that I smoked weed, he was pretty much just like,
Let
"You're a
alone
disgrace."
sell it.
Yeah, let alone sell it. I mean, fuck, dude. But I mean, anything weed related, he's just like, that's the worst thing ever. That's the devil's lettuce. It's a drug. He called it dope. I'm like, please
My
stop.
dad still calls it dope.
I'm like, it is
Yeah.
not dope. Dope is meth. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but dope is not weed. Like,
My dad still calls it dope.
I don't know why the older generations do that, but
It's just a fucking narc on it.
right, yeah,
It's-
for real.
Yeah.
I think
No.
it's crazy the fact that like when we were in school, weed was still illegal, and now we just have shops all across the fucking state where they're just like, oh, you want an eighth? You want a gram of fucking dabs? You want some fucking keef?
Once
Here you
fucking
go.
1-to-1s, here you go.
Like, fuck, dude.
Man, they need to slow the fuck down on that whole process there, because it's not regulated. It's just some fucking greasy old dude with a Grateful
cat-
Dead t-shirt on, fucking chucking ingredients into a fucking bowl.
It's
Grateful
kind of
Dead
regulated if
t-shirt.
you go buy it from a dispensary, though.
It is
Like,
pretty.
you're like, oh, you want edibles? There's only this much in it. When you go to Washington, though, they're like, there's no regulations on
They're
edibles.
just like, fuck me up.
Oh,
So it's like, you eat one, you're like
This was
for
a mistake.
hours, dude.
for hours you have Down syndrome.
Yeah, right. Like, this shit's not gonna fuck me up. Fucking 45 minutes later, you're just like,
Yeah.
I still remember back to, like, my first time ever smoking. Like, fuck, man. I can't even, like, think about all the kids now that are
Oh,
smoking for their
Christ.
first time with dabs. I started off on some, like, dirt weed. You had to, like, smoke, like, 2 or 3 bowls to actually feel anything. Now, kids are literally smoking a fucking dab, and they're, like, fucking lift off.
Here's a shout out real quick. Old School Skunk.
I don't know if I've ever heard
My
of-
dad's Instagram.
Oh, shit. Oh, you're
Oh, my
Old School
God.
Skunk, I'm calling you out. Let's
Shout out
fucking.
Old School Skunk.
We'll do a fucking podcast together.
That would be cool.
You're my father. I can't hold a grudge forever. But Old School Skunk, let's go.
Come
You're
on down.
You
That'll be a
grow
good
some great
podcast.
weed. You got great connects. I got you, man. This is coming popping. I have pretty good following, I guess now.
Right.
I got pretty good views.
I just ended that
Especially
giveaway.
after this one, man. Cole's gonna fucking bring us up. We're
Yeah,
gonna
Cole's
bring
gonna
him
bring
up.
the fucking heat, man.
I'll do a little bit.
There's different
too
flavors
much.
in there too, I
Shit.
think.
Ooh-wee, that's
No,
a
this
big
black
Josh
black cherry is one of my
Whitlow.
favorites
Young
actually.
blood
So
on that
I like
profile. Look at that young blood right there. Look at you.
Oh, look at that. Let me bring that up.
Old school days.
Soccer, bro. I was sponsored to play soccer for a while actually. That was my main sport.
I don't know if he'll pick it. There it is.
But
fucking Baker County and
did you ever
alcohol.
play sports, man?
No, the dirt bike was always just too much fucking fun. I mean, I did a little bit of football like 6th, 7th
Were you
grade.
ever like did your dad ever choose your path?
No, he let me figure that out on my own. That was probably the best thing he ever passed down to me was just like, hey, you know, there's a lot. I mean, there was even a lot of things like, you know, like he didn't even like push fucking religion on me as a kid. He just was like, yeah, there's this thing called a moral compass, and in time you'll figure out how to use it. Is kind of, he didn't directly say that to me, but just over time, that's kind of what I can remember and recollect and be like, yeah, it's what he pretty much was trying to tell me. And over time, as I got older, it was like, that's, yeah, what I realized.
What religion was that?
There's no religion.
This is moral compass.
Just moral compass
So
straight up.
you guys weren't like super religious, like
Oh,
going
fuck
to
no,
church
we
every
never went to
Sunday,
church.
or-
I remember like we had some neighbors that like were in this vacation Bible school as a kid, and I was like not about it at all. Not one bit. I was just like, no, let's not
See,
do
I was
this
born
again.
a Christian. They made me go to church. They made me do everything, and then I was a Christian for like the longest time. That's probably why I didn't want weed in my life and shit. But
Yeah,
dude, when you get older, it's like I want to go to the military for the like forever.
I think every young boy had that.
And then I got older and started learning about it. I'm like, I do not want to fight for these corrupt motherfuckers.
No.
Why the fuck would you
It's a bunch of young men going to die for a bunch of old men's wars. I mean, literally.
Exactly.
Rich men wars.
Yeah, old rich men. And a bunch of young 18-year-olds dying.
Which I don't really want to put it down to that perspective, but
that's pretty much what it is.
Pretty much what it is.
I mean,
like,
best believe if we ever get invaded, I'll be outside with my fucking 30-30 shooting up at fucking planes, obviously.
Right.
But it's like, for the most part, it's like, what you just said. That's literally what it is.
It's and like we're just going to go wars for like stupid little
greed,
money.
Yeah, greed.
It's all fucking bullshit. But if Russian invades us, I can tell you right now,
they're gonna have some problems.
I'm arming up.
Everybody's gonna fucking be arming up.
Yeah, for real.
Come here, I guarantee you're gonna lose that war just like you are with fucking Ukraine.
Yeah, they think they got troubles at Ukraine. Try coming to the most heavily armed population on the fucking planet.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why America is ranked the #1 impossible country to invade. There's a gun behind every blade of grass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's why the Japanese never decided to invade us.
That's why they were told not to. They're like, we're not gonna win that.
Yeah, if they came here, so that's the thing. Is like anyone came here, they'd be fucked. Yeah. But if they were just decided to shoot stuff over, not come here, they're just like, we're going to do it from this distance.
Right, some ballistic
missiles. We might be fucked. Because they have those
hypersonic
nukes now.
Yeah. We just started. Our program is actually catching up to them pretty quick.
I'm sure we already got it.
Well, the funny thing is literally China and Russia steal every sort of fucking... Any sort of information they can get, they fucking steal it.
What do you guys think about Elon Musk?
To the moon, baby, to the moon. He needs to buy Twitter fucking ASAP, what about you, Cole? For sure.
He needs to buy Twitter.
Twitter declined his offer, I heard.
Fuck Twitter. I don't give a shit about Twitter. Right. What do you think about Elon Musk when it comes to space?
When it comes to space, that's going to be I don't know how it's going to go down, but it's definitely interesting to watch. I mean, granted...
Have you seen his documentary?
Not yet. I'm not too in tune with stuff like that, usually, but it's stuff...
Are you interested?
I mean, I'll watch him get high on JRE, but other than that, that's about it. It's like...
Yeah, he did. He lost a big percentage of his his investors.
Dude, my buddy fucking grew weed in Joseph, Oregon, and he named his fucking weed Tesla Stock Drop, and it sold so fucking hard.
That is awesome.
Which is ironic.
Yeah. I know. I remember Joe's like giving fucking Richard Rawlings a joint, and he's like, "This is what dropped Tesla stock by 6%." Whatever he said.
I love that interview because Elon's like, I probably shouldn't. He's like, why? He's like, because people don't like when I smoke weed, and he's like, Rogan's like, fuck him. Who cares?
Right.
Yeah,
he smokes
literally.
It anyways and just loses.
The way he smokes it, though, it just, like, cracks me.
He says that
it's
at
so
first.
Funny.
But then he has, like, an aftermath about it. He goes, yeah.
Kind of realization.
He goes, people think I smoke weed, but in reality, he's like, that's literally, like, almost the first time. Which is, dude, you understand? Dude, could you do that? No. There's no way I'm showing up to Joe Rogan, never smoked weed in my day in my life, and just go... Y'all hit that. Hit it. You cannot talk. There's no fucking way.
Yeah,
You'd be so high, you'd be like, I'm sorry, dude. I gotta leave.
Yeah, let me hit some of this Killer Kush 3000.
You got a couch over there, right?
Back, like...
Yeah, you got a couch over there, right? I'm gonna go sleep on that fucking thing.
Right.
But, dude, because the first time I ever smoked weed, it was like, I was fucking... okay, I can't say first. The first time I ever smoked weed, nothing exciting was happening around me. Like, so first time I smoked weed was like a party. Didn't really feel it. Second time I ever smoked weed, I was going to Warped Tour. And, dude, there was no way I was
That's a good place to do it.
Yeah,
right,
there was no way I was not going to be so excited. The first time I ever smoked weed and was just chilling was the first time I felt it. And it was at my work.
Oh, fuck.
And I was just like...
When you gotta do shit.
Yeah,
right.
I was working for fucking Sumter Junction. Sumter Junction with Luke Brown, whatever.
Were you the guy that would throw fucking bus tubs in the trash?
Oh, hell no.
Okay, I didn't think so. I've heard that legend for years of this guy they had doing dishes that would just grab bus tubs that were dirty, and he'd just take them out to the fucking dumpster and just eat them into the fucking dumpster.
Fuck this.
Fuck this.
I don't want to say names, but I bet Barley's and Luke used to run Sumter Junction. And I used to come back and forth and do a lot of work for them and get paid kind of minimum for the work I was doing, but at the time I was a kid, I really didn't give a shit. So yeah, it worked out. I fucking made money. I bought the parts I wanted for my BMX bike. I bought the parts for anything I wanted. I bought a car. I bought everything. Worked out great. Shout out to them. You guys make a good beer.
Right, yeah.
And you make good
beer.
food.
Already ran out of their fucking beer. The growler's already gone.
I know.
Yeah, we
I'm
fucking-
mad about that,
We
dude.
killed that shit.
I know. I
Next
should
time you're on, I'm
I
gonna
should
have
have
to buy
brought
Dew.
more.
Yeah, fuck.
Like, yeah, they're up at the fucking hill climbs right now, and Anthony Lake's having a blast, I'm sure. So, but
Oh, the snowmobile helicopters?
oh yeah, those are happening right now.
I haven't been to one of those in a
You
long
snowmobiler, right?
No, I've never. I rode snowmobiles like to go to work at Willow Alpine Huts, but that was as far as it went. I never got into sledding and
Well,
whatnot.
fuck, dude, you got the perfect friend to take you out and do it. Fucking Ryan is
Well,
just a fucking monster.
If I
on
were to get
sleds,
into that
bro.
type of sport, it would be snow biking, just because I've done it before
Right.
for demo days, and man, the sorest muscles on my face are these muscles right here on your cheeks that
Smile.
make you smile.
Yep.
I mean, like, I'm never sore physically. It was always just like straight up, just like I'm smiling under that helmet so hard, and it's like that was back in like 2017 when the track kits were just fucking shit compared to now too. Like
Right.
now they're just, I hear, are just incredible.
Those timber sled
Just-
kids.
The Timber Sled, Yeti, fucking CMX, fucking Ride Rail, all those guys.
Right.
Like they got
Some good
something.
companies out now.
They got some stuff going on now that's just like you get somebody out into the backcountry with ease, and it's just like you're riding a bike instead of it feels like you're riding something that's not a bike. It's
Right.
it's like a sled that's like a little bit lighter.
You ever rode a snow bike?
Oh yeah, I did a demo day with Outlaw Motorsports a few years ago, and that was when I got my face all sore from just smiling. I was just like, this bike handles like shit, but I don't care, man. This is just stock fork spring, so it's super soft, but it was just so much fun, just like out there ripping around and whatnot.
I've never rode one of those.
Oh, they're fun. They're addicting.
I rode a snow bike and I've a snowmobile and I rode dirt bike, but I never rode a snow bike. What are they called?
Which ones?
The snow bikes.
Just snow biking.
Yeah, snow bike.
They just have different kits for them, which are just
Yeah.
under different
I
company
remember
names.
working at Natural Structures and having to build the front tread for Luke Brown.
The skis.
Yeah, skis.
Yeah, the Quiver Ski Co. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's like tying on a freaking, front, like just Velcro to your front end of your snow bike, basically, just because somebody that knows how to build skis got into the scene and just was like, hey, if we do it like this, it'll be really grippy, pretty much. Just like on hard pack and everything, like,
Dude, it took us a long time to fucking perfect that. And
it took so much effort. Yeah, him and Rick Stevens really just went to work on that shit.
It's crazy how many, like, entrepreneur, like, projects and stuff, like, how much stuff people come out with around
Mm-hmm.
here in town. Like, there are really a lot of, like, just gifted individuals in between, like, making products or, like, riding dirt bikes
AKA,
or
don't mind if we
anything.
drink.
Yeah. No, but seriously, like, there's a lot of... Eastern Oregon is just plumb full of fucking just amazingly talented people.
Yeah.
I mean, out of anywhere I've been all over. Montana, Idaho, Washington, California. And it's like,
bye.
Oregon is just something else. I mean, not all of Oregon for sure. Eastern Oregon. Western Oregon can fucking sink into the hole. They can fall into the ocean for all I care. But
No, I've
Eastern
been-
Oregon, something
Like
else.
you said, I've been in California, North Dakota. I've been in Portland, everything that Washington, everything that involves around us.
Right?
Honestly, I love North Dakota.
Really?
I've never been there for the winter, but it's a pretty good fucking time. Baker City, though, is definitely a home.
Right.
There's nothing quite like it out there
No.
right now.
There's-
really
if
isn't.
you want to do shit that involves everything, it's here.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason. Shit,
Well-
my family's been hunting here since the fucking 1920s, and I don't blame them for fucking picking this place because literally, I mean, they used to drive over from the valley in a deuce-and-a-half truck and come elk hunting. And
I
it's
wouldn't-
like, fuck.
I wouldn't say the same about skiing anymore. Anthony Lake's fucking exploded since Wu-Tang hit the fucking valleys and whatnot. So, fucking place is just overrun now. I went
Right.
there
I
as a-
haven't been there in 5 years.
yeah, I've been there off and on over the years, and it's just so busy now. It's just like, all right, make your money, I guess, whatever.
Well, it's just sad because there's not much to pick from in this just general area. I mean, that's all you really got
you
for
ski or
skiing and
snowboard?
I
snowboarding.
snowboard. I got a split board and whatnot. So
Split board?
Yeah,
What's that?
it's a snowboard that splits in half to where you can skin up a hill and whatnot, and like
So you
ski
can
down.
ski too?
You can't. I mean, we want to like, I mean, if you had to, you could probably ski on it, but you don't want to ski. It's just like, a couple
So
half.
explain that for the viewers.
A split board is just like a snowboard that splits in half, and you put each end on a foot, and you skin up a hill like a pair of skis, and then
So does it do your foot?
it like literally splits in half, and then you put it
So
back
you're like
together.
this?
You get to the it's like a split board. It's like it turns into a pair of skis basically, and you get to the top of the hill you want to ski, and you put it back together, and it's a snowboard again, pretty much.
Oh shit.
So,
Sounds
Yeah.
complicated, man.
You never heard of a split board before?
No.
I haven't.
shit.
I haven't either.
You want to Google that real quick?
Those
Mark?
are
Yeah, let's
I mean,
see that.
I got one of those a
curious.
few years ago, and it was like, yeah, I loved it because I was back then unaware of avalanche shit, and so I was like all into it and whatnot. So
Did you snowboard or ski before that?
I snowboarded. I've snowboarded. I tried skiing as a kid, and I just couldn't fucking get. I just was not like into it at all.
Pizza.
I had
Pizza.
to have my feet had to be on the same piece of plank going down the hill for some reason. So once I snowboarded religiously for years as a teenager and whatnot, and then finally got a split board like when I was 21 for my birthday present, and it was just like the coolest thing just to be able just to go in the backcountry, skin up a hill, and come down and whatnot. It was pretty cool. But then when got Avi certified and was like, oh shit, got to be a little more careful out here.
Right.
I mean, it really just made me aware of the consequence and everything is all it was. But
Push play and I'll explain it to you guys.
Can I see that bit?
Dude, he's in powder too.
that's the best part about those things is you can just freaking carve.
All about the powder, baby.
Because before then, I would just take a snowboard, strap it on my back, and have snowshoes in my pack, and snowshoe up the fucking hill.
Hike to a run.
Yeah.
So it really just turns into skis. So
Yep. Just turns into a pair of.
Oh damn.
kind of sounds like you got to do a lot of work for the switch.
Yeah,
so.
right.
I mean, yeah, you do. So it's like I remember working for the huts. It was always like they were always waiting on me to get my shit together and whatnot.
Damn. It
Because
really
they
is
would
a process.
because all that the fucking skiers had to do was just rip their skins off, shove in their pack, and they're good to go. And I'm like, no. I gotta lace them up and
Right.
yada,
You gotta do
yada.
this shit?
Yeah,
Damn.
Oh shit. My bad.
you're good.
Oh, look at that.
But that's your only.
fucking-
That's your only way to go now, huh? You
I mean,
like to ride any other way?
I honestly don't hardly do that anymore. I went out snowboarding on New Year's Eve, and that was it this year. And that was at Anthony Lakes on the fucking chairlift. So,
Right.
like,
And then you can hike back if you need to.
that's the nice part about it, though, is that you can hike around in the backcountry. So,
It's like being able to cross country while on a snowboard.
That's pretty fucking
pretty
cool,
much,
I guess.
yeah.
Right.
I never heard about that.
Yeah. That's pretty versatile.
I'm not too into it anymore. So, it's just, I'd rather have.
He's all in on the moto.
Yeah, so I was gonna say that.
It's in his blood. Hell yeah.
I'd rather get hurt fucking wadding up in the desert than getting caught in an avalanche and sifted through
Yeah.
trees. So
Instead of getting suffocated to death.
Yeah.
yeah,
I think we're about at the end.
Yeah, we're getting pretty close here.
getting pretty close, I'm sure.
So,
This is the longest one yet. I think we're coming up on 3 hours.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Shout out to everyone that's following, subscribing. I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys.